In the episode Delivery of Doom, SpongeBob is challenged to deliver a Krusty Krab order to the League of Evil's secret lair in under 10 minutes, or else the villains get to eat for free, Mr. Krabs' worst nightmare. The episode opens with a charmingly low-tech Krusty Krab commercial that Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob film themselves, using a hollowed-out television and crayon-drawn backdrop.
You can let the Krusty Krab make and deliver your meal for you!
Longtime fans will recognize this as a homage to SpongeBob's puppet TV gag from Season 3's Can You Spare a Dime, where SpongeBob put on a similar DIY show to cheer up Squidward. Speaking of evil, notably, the entrance to their lair is still through a dumpster.
Secret entrance.
This right here is a reference, as it was portrayed the exact same way back in the episode Captain Pipsqueak when Plankton sought out the League of Evil.
The villains escape to their secret underground lair!
In fact, when Mr. Krabs literally cannon launches SpongeBob towards the delivery address, he lands in that very dumpster portal. The door inside the dumpster is another blast from the past, as it's modeled after the classic evil logo seen in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5. From here though, SpongeBob's descent into the lair is filled with tons and tons of nostalgia. For one, as he free falls down Evil's secret chute, he whips out a very familiar spatula.
SpongeBob reached for his hydrodynamic spatula with port and starboard attachments.
This right here is another reference. This is SpongeBob's hydrodynamic spatula, the same high-tech spatula with port and starboard attachments that he first used in this clip from the very first SpongeBob episode ever, Help Wanted.
Did someone order a spatula?
Using the propeller spatula to slow his fall is both practical and a wink to fans remembering SpongeBob's fry cook initiation test. As remember, Mr. Krabs sent him to find this, not even knowing that this item existed. His goal was to have SpongeBob searching forever, that way he never has to see SpongeBob again.
We'll give you a test. Go out and fetch me a hydrodynamic spatula.
But back to Delivery of Doom. After landing, SpongeBob checks his watch, which is another really cool reference. This isn't the first time we've seen this item before. If we go back like 10 years ago, there was the episode Mermaid Man Begins, and this nifty piece of merchandise first appeared in that episode, when SpongeBob and Patrick donned all of their fanboy gear so that they could watch the first episode of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy together.
And
It's time! It's time! It's time to fight evil!
By equipping SpongeBob with these vintage accessories, the spatula and Mermaid Man watch, the episode equips him and us with a sense of old school SpongeBob nostalgia. And this will continue. This episode has so many Easter eggs, guys. Whoever wrote this episode definitely wanted to show off their knowledge of SpongeBob lore. Inside the lair, SpongeBob essentially navigates a villain-themed obstacle course, and each room brims with references. First, he faces a familiar face. Well, maybe not so familiar, as this character is actually really rare. First up is Jumbo Shrimp, with SpongeBob facing off with him in a wrestling ring.
Jumbo Shrimp, the biggest name in bad behavior.
Now here's the thing, the Easter egg here isn't necessarily Jumbo Shrimp. Like, Jumbo Shrimp is kind of an Easter egg because he's a rare character, it's like a callback to older episodes. But what makes this one really special is that Jumbo Shrimp had a major, character redesign in later episodes. When he first appeared, he looked like this, humanoid, ripped, jacked version of Jumbo Shrimp.
The atomic flounder and the dreaded Jumbo Shrimp.
As you just saw, he was just like a static cutout used for a gag. But later on, they did a complete switch up and changed him to this six-legged version of him that does arguably look more like a legitimate villain.
Citizen Captain Pipsqueak. Captain Pipsqueak.
There's a moment where the bunny's going through SpongeBob's house and is destroying everything. We've talked about this before, and we get this one shot of SpongeBob's comic book collection. And as you can see, each issue is numbered, so we know the order that each of these issues released in. And if you look, there's 3 issues with Jumbo Shrimp on them. In the first one, issue number 3, we can see that he's using his original design, the more humanoid, jacked, shrimp version, without the mask or anything like that. Here's a side-by-side with the shot of him from Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2 and this comic book cover. But then this changes in issue number 5, where he's now wearing the mask and looks more evil, and then we get a full body shot of him in issue number 11. So my theory is that he started out looking like this and then he started putting on the mask in the costume, which is what changed his design. This isn't canon, it's just a theory, but let's get back to this Easter egg because I just went off on like a whole mini tangent. The main point here is this is his more modern design, the redesign, and we haven't seen his original design for years. However, as you can imagine, this would change in Delivery of Doom.
You look bigger in the comics. Do you think you could sign this for me?
Oh, gladly.
So yeah, not only is it rare to even see this character, but it's the first time we've seen his original design in a while too. Speaking of bikini bottom superheroes and supervillains, we have another Easter egg related to this. In a similar vein, when SpongeBob shows Mr. Krabs the comic book he's brought along, closer to the start of the episode, we can see Miss appear on the cover of the comic book, and she's gone through a bit of a redesign. This time it's to resemble Sandy Cheeks' Broadway portrayal from the SpongeBob musical, with her being black and complete with a stylish afro. Miss Appear's look has actually evolved repeatedly over the years. For example, her initial cameo on a lunchbox in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5 showed her with bright red hair, but then later in the Bad Guys Club for Supervillains, her design changed again, with her outfit changing subtly, but her hair changing to be black. So it's interesting to see a third redesign here. As SpongeBob continues the delivery, he next stumbles into a kitchen set guarded by the infamous Dirty Bubble.
You certainly did, you simple-minded sponge!
There's a really cool Easter egg here, as the close-up shot of this faucet dripping right here, specifically when the Dirty Bubble comes out of it, is a direct reproduction shot from a Season 1 episode. If we go back to Squeaky Boots from, like I just said, Season 1, Mr. Krabs is tormented by the repetitive squeak of SpongeBob's boots, leading to a surreal montage of sounds, where Mr. Krabs is like absolutely tweaking, like the dude is like going crazy. But more importantly, there's this random extreme close-up shot of a dripping faucet, which also nearly drives Mr. Krabs mad.
Could the world's greatest fight?
It's a very weird scene, but over 20 years later, and we get a really cool reference. You know, it's the kind of blink and you miss it detail only diehard fans like myself would catch, and you need to see it side by side. You guys probably think I'm crazy, but as you can see right here, it's identical. I love Easter eggs like these ones, and I've got more. As when SpongeBob first enters the Dirty Bubble area of the lair, there's a certain photo on the wall that serves as a really cool Easter egg. This right here is called a recursive picture, a portrait that contains a smaller copy of itself that just repeats like forever within the picture. This is actually a running gag within SpongeBob's world that dates back to an old school episode like No Free Rides. There's also a recursive picture right here in this shot, a framed photo of Mrs. Puff at her door, included in the very same scene within itself. This also happened again with Mrs. Puff in the episode Potato Puff years later, with the artist slipping in another one of these cool little references. So it happening here in Delivery of Doom is like an intentional Easter egg. And dude, there's so many, there's even more. As this section of the episode continues, SpongeBob finds himself once again unintentionally besting the Dirty Bubble. Armed with his trusty pen, he innocently asks for an autograph, but he also ends up like killing him.
Ooh, can I get your autograph?
Oh, wait! Not again. Oh!
And this is where the reference comes in, as SpongeBob did the exact same thing like years ago in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2.
Can I have your autograph?
What's the point now?
And guess what? There's even some continuity here. In Delivery of Doom, upon bursting, the Dirty Bubble even groans, not again, directly referencing the first time where SpongeBob's pencil popped him back in that Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode I just mentioned. Finally, for this episode though, and then we'll talk about another one, SpongeBob reaches Man Ray, the last villain and the leader of evil, with mere seconds left on the delivery clock. Man Ray isn't interested in letting SpongeBob succeed, so he stalls until the time runs out, robbing SpongeBob of a win.
Delivery complete!
Yes, but it was
1 second late.
From here, Man Ray reveals the League's dirty little secret. Evil is completely broke. They've lost all their money. To prove it, he holds up an empty wallet. Notably, it's one of Patrick's wallets from the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3. The very same one from Patrick's Is This Your Wallet bit.
You've dropped your wallet.
Doesn't look familiar to me.
I just saw you drop it. Yeah.
Nope, it's not mine.
At the very end of the episode, as the hungry evildoers dig into their food, we're treated to a final buffet of callbacks. Among the items SpongeBob delivers are a crusty kids meal with the same box from the episode Mermaid Man vs. SpongeBob, as well as a Patty Pal toy, another callback to the episode Yours, Mine, and Mine. And with that, holy, I'm out of breath. We're finally done with that episode. That was a lot of Easter eggs, guys. Oh my gosh. Also, guys, I just want to say real quick, and I'm gonna get right back to the content, don't worry, but please subscribe, guys. I'm like one of the only non-AI SpongeBob channels right here. I put a lot of time into these videos, confirming every Easter egg I talk about, and like, it's just a lot of time, and I love doing it. I'm very passionate about SpongeBob. I'm very passionate about SpongeBob. Let me correct my pronunciation. Just showing you I'm real. So please subscribe. And yeah, back to the video. Let's talk about more Easter eggs in another episode. Our next episode, Squid Noir, drops us into a stylistic mystery in which Squidward turns detective, literally, to find his missing clarinet. And along the way, it dishes out some delicious cameos for observant fans. The episode opens at the Krusty Krab, with Squidward's jazz performance annoying everyone.
Make it stop!
Now, you may have missed it, but if you look at the crowd throughout the Krusty Krab, there's a rare character here. None other than Flats the Flounder, the bully from the Season 3 episode titled, well, The Bully.
Tell the class something about yourself, Flats.
Well, I like to kick people's butts.
Flats really has not been seen in ages, aside from a brief miscolored cameo at a party. Pretty sure this happens at the end of the episode, The Slumber Party. You can see him right here, miscolored. But aside from that, we haven't seen him since his original episode, pretty much. And I also love the fact that he's kind of like a background character. It's not like one of those Easter eggs where it's right up in your face. It's kind of subtle. And these types of things like expand the world of SpongeBob to me, because it shows that, you know, Flats the Flounder is like a regular Bikini Bottom citizen. He wasn't just exclusive to that one episode, but I'm rambling. Nerd Corey's coming out here. Can you guys tell that I really like SpongeBob? But back to the episode, when Squidward's beloved clarinet does vanish and the world turns black and white, a really cool effect by the way, the hunt for clues leads our heroes to a local comic book shop. Here, the animators pack the scene with inside references. For example, look closely at the shop's merchandise, and you'll spot action figures of several obscure characters. For example, the Moth right here from the episode Nightlight. Nightlight is a random episode, and the Moth is like a character who only appeared in that episode like one time.
Another thing. What the?
Even the background art of this scene gets playful. On the table, there's a gaming dice that features a staircase-shaped symbol, almost identical to the escalator icon from the board game Eels and Escalators. That board game appeared in Sailor Mouth, obviously, where SpongeBob and Patrick rolled dice marked with little eels and escalators instead of numbers. If we put them side by side, the die in Squid Noir has the same stylized stairs. However, the other symbol is different, I'll admit, so I don't know. But you guys know what I'm talking about here and see it. The stair or escalator icon is like identical. You know, it's probably possible that the prop designers of this episode reused the Eels and Escalators design for a generic comic shop dice asset, but who knows? In Camp SpongeBob, a Camp Coral episode set during SpongeBob's summer at camp as a kid, SpongeBob finds himself accidentally left all alone at Camp Coral. Rather than mope, our favorite sponge turns the deserted grounds into Camp SpongeBob, making the best of solitude. That is, until some friendly critters join him. This episode carries a breezy, zany tone, but it still sneaks in references bridging back to the main series. For instance, in one early scene, Patrick thinks he's chatting with SpongeBob, only to realize that he's been chatting to a box of Kelpo cereal.
I got my buddy. You're awfully quiet today, SpongeBob.
As you can see, Patrick is holding a yellow Kelpo's cereal box and actually thinks that it's SpongeBob. This absurd gag is actually a clever nod to the episode as seen on TV. And that classic season 3 episode, SpongeBob appears briefly in a Krusty Krab commercial, and later an elderly fish mistakes him for a box of Bran Flake cereal. This also happens in a bunch of other episodes where SpongeBob has literally been mistaken for Kelpos before in particular. But back to the episode. Left to his own devices, SpongeBob soon attracts a large audience of forest animals to Camp SpongeBob, including sea bunnies, a sea serpent, and even a few wild clams.
Oh, hello! Would you like to join Camp SpongeBob? It's free for sea bunnies.
In a particularly charming sequence, two sea bunnies blow bubbles together for fun. They end up blowing a giant bubble in the shape of SpongeBob himself, which floats above them. As if on cue, an instrumental of the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song kicks in, just as the SpongeBob-shaped bubble pops in the air.
Ooh, who's that handsome fellow? My eyes!
It's a meta moment that breaks the fourth wall musically, with the characters literally inside the show acknowledging the theme song of the show. Throughout the episode, SpongeBob's camp adventures carry echoes of the main series. At one point, Patrick returns, having realized SpongeBob was left behind, and joins the fun, only to be trampled by a herd of meeping anchovies at the camp. This flows directly into the next Camp Coral episode. But even here, one could potentially say this was a callback, but I don't know. I mean, seeing anchovies swarming somebody while saying their trademark meep is always going to be reminiscent of Help Wanted, the first ever SpongeBob episode. More specifically, this scene right here.
Anchovies!
But I don't know, guys. I don't know if this is necessarily a reference. This is one where the SpongeBob wiki says that it's an Easter egg, but I don't fully agree, but I'm gonna include it anyways. However, I do agree with this next one. There's one moment in this scene where we see a bunch of clams acting very strangely, and we see Patrick observing them. And at one point, he makes this face right here. Now, if I do a side-by-side, this face is very similar to this scene from the episode Face Freeze.
How about an eye cross? And then
In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick get addicted to making all of these strange comedic faces. However, it backfires when their faces freeze and don't go back to normal. Honestly, a really weird plot, but not a bad episode. It seems that even as a kid, Patrick had face freeze at times, I guess, huh? I mean, look at a side-by-side and that face is very similar, but it could also be a case of like the art team reusing a reference shot or something. I don't know. I'm just presenting all the facts, trivia, and Easter eggs to you guys, because I'm a nerd. Now, I will admit some of the Easter eggs and facts and stuff in this past episode, some of them were kind of reaching, but this next episode has a lot of really good stuff. Sharks vs. Pods from season 10 is an episode that wears its inspiration on its sleeve. A loving parody of West Side Story and 1950s greaser culture, while also digging into SpongeBob's own archives for some seriously cool callbacks. The premise finds SpongeBob falling in with a tough street crew of sharks, only to face off against a rival group of pods, cephalopods by the way, which is pretty much what Squidward is, and surprise, surprise, the leader of the pods is Squidward. Now, the title itself is actually riffing on the famous Sharks vs. Jets rivalry from the iconic film West Side Story, and originally, the episode was even stated to be titled Swimming with Sharks. But beyond the musical theater nods, this story deep dives into SpongeBob lore, and I know that's what you guys actually want here, so let's get into that. Early in the episode, as SpongeBob gets swept up in the shark's world, we catch a glimpse of his home decorated with a very meaningful keepsake.
I'll have to go into the witness protection program. I'll have to quit working at the Krusty Krab. I'll never flip a succulent Krabby Patty ever again. Oh, what have I done?
You guys may have missed it, but on the wall right here is a framed picture of the hydrodynamic spatula, the same one we talked about earlier in this video, the one he acquired back in Help Wanted. I love how SpongeBob's proudly displaying it like a trophy, and I'm sure back in Delivery of Doom, he had to take it out of retirement because we see him using it again there, right? A few moments later, as SpongeBob prepares for a climatic dance, there's still a couple more Easter eggs in this episode though, so let's keep it going. As SpongeBob later prepares for a climatic dance showdown with the pods to rescue his kidnapped pet snail Gary, he gears up in his garage, and in the background there's another gem for observant fans.
I have to go to the showdown. I have to get ready to fight.
I'm sure you guys caught this one, but SpongeBob's old license plate right here reads, "I'm ready." And this is a reference. I mean, this plate right here sounding out "I'm ready" was originally seen on SpongeBob's first boatmobile all the way back in season 3's No Free Rides. In that episode, Mrs. Puff awarded him a fake license and a paddy wagon. And as you can see here, it's pretty much the same license plate, although there is a little bit of a coloring change here. Moments like this show some crew members' dedication to continuity. SpongeBob saving sentimental scraps from old adventures, which adds a lot of personality to the world. Moving on though, one of the episode's most exciting surprises is the reappearance of Reg, the burly bouncer from the classic season 3 episode No Weenies Allowed. Reg originally stood guard at the Salty Spittoon, denying SpongeBob entry for not being tough enough.
How tough am I? How tough am I? I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
Yes, so?
Without any milk.
Right this way.
Reg returns in a similar capacity, at a Fight Club-like dance arena. Longtime viewers will immediately recognize his shaved head, sunglasses, and tattoo that famously said "Mom."
How tough am I?
Wow.
You may notice something different about it this time, as it's colored blue instead of its original red. Here's a side-by-side of Reg from No Weenies Allowed and Reg in this episode, and I don't know why they changed the color of the tattoo. Maybe this was an animator's way of sneaking this rare character into the episode, who knows. Regardless of the tattoo color though, seeing Reg again in any form is a treat. He was one of those one-off characters fans always remember, so it's cool to see him popping up again. And let's keep it going with more Easter eggs from this episode. Once the titular sharks and pods face off, the episode turns into a full-blown musical dance battle. The animators and writers seize this opportunity to reference one of SpongeBob's most beloved musical moments, Squidward's talent show dance from the iconic episode Culture Shock. During the showdown, the pods do one dance that is very him to extract drinking water.
Thirsty?
It's no use. We'll never find the rare desert sandwich.
Our timeout recreates this gag with their younger selves, right down to Patrick's satisfied gulp and SpongeBob's dizzy reaction. Really cool stuff, and yeah, that's it for that episode. First up is the season 12 episode, The Hankering, which has two really cool Easter eggs, especially if you're a big SpongeBob fan, especially if you're a fan of the older seasons. Here's the first one, and here's a little hint. This one has to do with the SpongeBob movie, the original one. Roll the footage.
Set
Well, I'm feeling hungry tonight. How's about another plate of chum?
That was my last plate of chum ever! I'm moving to Shell City to make it big in the pictures.
Did you guys catch it? Well, alright, Shell City, which is a location from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, is actually mentioned by Sal when he says that he moved there to become a movie star, which is really cool because the SpongeBob SquarePants movie is back in like 2004, and this is a season 12 episode. So it's awesome that the current writer still will pay homage to the older seasons and movies. And here's another Easter egg from the same episode.
Oh, come on, there's gotta be some chum in here somewhere.
Hello?
I, lost my shoe. See, found it. Okay, bye.
Now, I'm not 100% sure about this one, alright? But the shoe that Mr. Krabs digs out of the trash seems to resemble the one that Gary wears in the iconic classic episode, Your Shoes Untied. Here's a side-by-side. On the left, we got the one that Mr. Krabs digs out in the hankering, and here's what it's referencing on the other side. Really cool reference. I love Easter eggs. And guys, we've got crazier Easter eggs coming up, so let's head over to another episode. Let's head over to Sammy Suckerfish. There's like 3 Easter eggs in this episode, and they're all really freaking cool. Here's the first one.
Krabs is cheap. Squidward smells.
It's true! Squidward smells great!
References to old school SpongeBob are always the best, so I love this first one, as that graffiti right there is a reference to Sailor Mouth. It says Squidward smells and Mr. Krabs is a blank, and this is identical to what SpongeBob finds on the dumpster in Sailor Mouth.
Lick up the windows, lick up the doors, lick up the ceiling, lick up the floors.
Easter egg number 2 from Sammy Suckerfish is all about the sterilized Krabby Patty, as it seems to be similar to SpongeBob's sterilized kitchen in Procrastination. Some people on Reddit said this one's an Easter egg, but I don't know, guys. This next one, though, is definitely an Easter egg.
What do you expect from a sewer dwellers convention? Table manners? Alright, you've had enough.
So this dude right here is the sewer monster, and he actually made his first appearance all the way back in like season 6, so like 20 years ago, so like 12 years ago. But in Sammy Suckerfish, he actually like randomly appears as a customer, and this is the first time we've seen him since Krabby Chronicles, so a really interesting one here. That's it for Sammy Suckerfish, but let's head over to Sheldon SquarePants. This one has one Easter egg that's really cool.
Why, look, Cecil! It's a baby boy!
Fantastic! I've always wanted our son to have a brother!
Some might argue if this is actually an Easter egg or not, but the ending of Sheldon SquarePants, as you just seen, hints that Patrick's parents from the Patrick Star Show are canonically alive outside of the Patrick Star Show. We've never seen them outside of the Patrick Star Show, and remember that like them being introduced technically retconned Patrick's actual parents from regular SpongeBob, Herb and Margie. In the episode Bad Luck Bob, we're introduced to SpongeBob's lucky tie clip, this thing right here. And SpongeBob pretty much believes that this thing causes him to have good luck. In his mind, whenever he isn't wearing it, bad things happen to him. For example, at the start of the episode when he isn't wearing it, he slips out of bed, he gets crushed by his alarm, and even this happens. In the end, SpongeBob loses the clip and his life just falls to shambles, but as you guys can imagine, it's a cartoon and he ends up getting it back in the end. But more importantly, this episode has a bunch of Easter eggs, and let's get right into them. Here's the first one. I'm gonna play the clip and then I'll come back and explain it. You have to be a major nerd to catch this one. But if we go back to the old school episode Bubble Stand, a big plot point in that one is SpongeBob blowing bubbles, and he blows all sorts of bubbles. If you were paying close attention, one of those bubbles may have seemed familiar. In the original episode Bubble Stand, we see SpongeBob blow a duck bubble, this one right here, and a butterfly bubble. And in Bad Luck Bob, when SpongeBob snores, he blows something very similar. Here's a side-by-side of both, and I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think that this was a reference, in my opinion. And we've got more. Here's another one, and let's see if you guys can catch it. It's another callback to SpongeBob Season 1, and here's a hint, it has to do with blowing leaves. You may have caught it, but the reef blower, as previously seen in the classic episode Reef Blower from SpongeBob Season 1, returns for the first time in a while and is used again by SpongeBob. This was actually the reef blower's third appearance, and it also appeared in the SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water movie. But I'm going to be doing a video that's pretty much all about movie Easter eggs from SpongeBob, like specifically in the SpongeBob movies, so subscribe for that video in the future. But yeah, let's keep it moving. Here's another Easter egg. I'm going to play the clip and then I'll come back and explain it. Roll the footage.
My lucky tie clip is missing.
Now this isn't a one-to-one reference, and I might be reaching here, but if we go back to the episode The Chaperone, there's this clip where SpongeBob emerges from his toaster. It seems that this is referenced in Bad Luck Bob, but SpongeBob looks kinda different. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think that this is a reference, but I don't know. But here's a fun fact about the episode. Take a look at this clip where SpongeBob gets his feet run over by a truck.
A new freeway?
This is actually a reference to the 1961 Merry Melodies cartoon Beep Prepared, when Wile E. Coyote's feet are flattened while trying to trip the Roadrunner. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, that's a reference, pretty cool. You know what's also really cool though? The other Easter eggs we're gonna be covering today, so let's head over to another episode. And if you guys are enjoying, I know I said it before, but please subscribe, guys. I'm trying to hit 10K subscribers, and I'm really close, so please help. As you guys have noticed, there's no AI or anything in my content. Like, I'm a real person, like I'm talking, I'm a real person. The editing's done by a real person, and the scripts are written by me. So just, yeah, subscribe. I love you guys. Next up is the episode Upward from SpongeBob Season 15. This episode's all about Lady Upturn, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys noticed, but around like Season 10 or Season 11, Lady Upturn became like a regular occurring side character within the show. Like, she appears just as much as like Larry the lobster, if you think about it. But yeah, in this episode, Squidward and Lady Upturn actually become like besties. They become really good friends.
Regigild, pay the man.
You can't just buy the soul of a raw talent like myself. Maybe you just bought yourself an artist.
And remember, Lady Upturn is like a rich lady. She's like a Karen pretty much, but a rich Karen, and all of her friends are snobby. And a big plot point in this episode is her introducing Squidward to all of her friends. It actually makes for a really good episode because if you think about it, Squidward and Lady Upturn are kind of similar. So, you know, but yeah, here's some clips of this. It's really funny, and then we're gonna get right into what you clicked on the video for.
Oh my, it's incredible. But where are you going to live?
The mansion is mine. I cannot wait to show you off to my wealthy, taste-making friends. So you better get writing.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I said, it's a really good episode, and it's cool to see somebody actually supporting Squidward's dreams of being a musician for once. You know, everybody else just takes a big poop on his clarinet playing, but Lady Upturn actually invests money in Squidward. But anyways, let's get into what you guys actually clicked on this video for, and that's for some SpongeBob Easter eggs. Here's the first one, and here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna play the Easter egg, and then I'll come back in and explain it for you guys, okay? Let's do it.
Lady Upturn! Always a delight to have you back at our gallery.
What do you have that's new and interesting? Nick,
Alright, so let me explain. When it comes to cartoons like SpongeBob or any other like Saturday morning kids cartoon, there's always going to be certain locations introduced that don't pop up in every episode. So for SpongeBob, it would be like Glove World. If you're a SpongeBob nerd like me, you know that Glove World is like, SpongeBob's favorite place, and it'll pop up every couple of seasons. Well, something similar happens in this episode. But for it to make sense, we have to rewind back to 2 older episodes. The first one being the episode The Masterpiece, and the other episode being Squidward's School for Grown-Ups. In the episode The Masterpiece, we were introduced to the art museum, this place right here. And guess what? It actually popped up again in Upward during this scene right here. That's a really cool reference. If we head back over to Squidward's School for Grown-Ups, back in that episode, we were introduced to the famed Bikini Bottom Opera House, this place right here. And guess what? This place also pops up again in Upward during this scene right here. When it comes to SpongeBob Easter eggs, they usually reference the most common SpongeBob stuff, but it's really cool when they reference lesser known episodes like Squidward's School for Grown-Ups. That's like an old episode, dude. And we're not done yet. I've got more Easter eggs. Let's keep it going. Here's another one. I'm gonna play a clip with the Easter egg and then I'll come back in and explain. Let's do it. Now this one is really, really funny. So if we go back to the episode Band Geeks, an iconic episode, there's this iconic scene with Patrick. Roll the clip.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Yeah, well, that's referenced in Upward. As if you look at the Opera House, Patrick is literally playing mayonnaise as an instrument. So take that, Squidward. If you remember, Squidward said that mayonnaise is not an instrument, but I guess it is, right, Patrick? Damn. Okay, here's another one, and you have to be a major nerd to get it, okay? It references the episode Squid Noir. Roll the clip.
Lady Upton, there's a jellyfish blocking your ears.
Is that what he really sounds like?
Okay, so if you guys remember back in the episode Squid Noir, I believe it's from season 11, there's like a reoccurring joke. It especially happens at the end of the episode where the jellyfish, the ones that always pop up throughout SpongeBob, are seen enjoying Squidward's clarinet playing. Most people usually hate it, as you guys know, but the jellyfish love it, bro. I mean, at least in modern SpongeBob. Back in the day, they didn't. But yeah, as you've seen in the clip I just played from Upward, the jellyfish are seen enjoying Squidward's bad clarinet playing again, which is totally a reference. And here's another one, though it technically isn't really a reference, but it's still really cool and I have to mention it. So who remembers the character Squilliam Fancy Son? Squidward's arch nemesis, this guy?
Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to, old chum.
Squilliam Fancy Son?
Yeah, that guy. He's one of my favorite characters. I love Squilliam, and I really hope that Squidward gets his revenge on him one day. He did get a little revenge back in Band Geeks, with the whole Bubble Bowl situation. He did get the W there, but since then, he hasn't really gotten his comeuppance yet, so hopefully that happens soon. But anyways, the last time we seen him was in the episode Code Yellow. Like I said, this was 7 years ago, back in season 10. Well, the show's producers must have caught on to this because, look. No! And just saying, he actually appears again in the next season, season 16, so stay tuned as I'm gonna make a video on that in the future. I'm gonna move on to another new SpongeBob episode in a moment, but I've got a couple more little Easter eggs and facts for you guys from this one that are really cool. Throughout the episode, Squidward wears numerous different outfits, and all of them are different references to other celebrities and cultural icons. While angrily swatting away his sheet music, he resembles Andy Warhol. Here's a side-by-side right here. Or while shopping for a golden clarinet, he resembles Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart from the 1984 film Amadeus. Another example is when he invites SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs to his debut concert, as he resembles composer Liberace, even wearing his signature King Neptune outfit. And in his last outfit, the one he wears while performing at the famed Bikini Bottom Opera House, he resembles the legendary Elton John, more specifically from his 1975 performance at the Dodger Stadium. And of course, here's another side-by-side. Really cool stuff, and now we can finally move on to another episode. Let's do it. Let's head over to The Dirty Bubble Bass, which has 4 Easter eggs in the one episode. Here's the first one.
We can handle this ourselves.
Wow!
This is really really cool, so back in Mermaid Pants, which isn't the oldest episode, but it's still already around like 10 years old, but in this episode, it's revealed that Mr. Krabs is actually a comic book fan, which I'm gonna be honest with you, is not very like accurate to his character. This dude used to serve in the Navy. When was he ever reading comics? But anyways, Mr. Krabs' superhero room that was first introduced in Mermaid Pants reappears in his office in this episode. This one goes really back to Krusty Krab training video, one of my favorite SpongeBob episodes, as in this episode we see this please wash your fins sign right here. Now we literally haven't seen this sign since that episode, but we do see it in the Dirty Bubble Bath right here, making for a cool reference.
Jackpot! Or should I say, chump pot?
Back in the Hankering, a big plot point is this large vat of chum. And in the Dirty Bubble Bath, it just randomly reappears right here. Here's one more from the Dirty Bubble Bath, and then we'll head over to our next episode.
382.
Did you catch it? Well, the kitchen sign from the classic episode Welcome to the Chum Bucket reappears in that same chum vat scene. Now these four were awesome, but they've got nothing on the Easter eggs in Squidiot box. Here's the first one.
Oh, not bad. A jungle safari could be fun.
When Squidward imagines himself in a safari outfit, this is actually a reference as he wears the same safari outfit that he wore in Yellow Pavement. Well, the hat's the same, so this one might be a reach. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's kind of similar. Next up, we've got the episode Bassword. Here's Easter egg number 1.
Old Man Jenkins has a plane!
E-I-E-I. Oh, yeah.
This one is so cool. So if we go back to, I believe, season 3, we have the episode, The Sponge Who Could Fly. And in this episode, SpongeBob wants to fly like the jellyfish. And when his pants get like inflated, he actually like kind of flies. Now, there's a running gag in this episode about Old Man Jenkins and his plane, as you guys seen in the clips, all right? Well, this exact plane from The Sponge Who Could Fly reappears in Bassword.
Jetsam City, here I come.
This one's like interesting, but the Bikini Bottom Station has the exact same design it had back in the Great Patty Capital. Let's head over to our next episode, Buff for Puff. Of course, here's the Easter egg and what the Easter egg is referencing.
Nice show, bro! Whoa, Mr. Krabs, looking good! Was that Larry?
All right, if you aren't a massive SpongeBob nerd like I am and tapped into the SpongeBob universe, you might not get this one, but as some of you probably know, there's a SpongeBob spin-off show called Camp Coral. Both Moe and Craig Mamilton appear weightlifting together, which is also a reference to them being frigate captain members back in Camp Coral as well. So yeah, here's Easter egg number 2 from Buff for Puff.
This was a mistake. Abandon Jim!
You can do this, Mr. Krabs. Do it for Mrs. Puff.
SpongeBob's gym outfit in this shot right here is the exact same one he wears when exercising with Gary in Gary's Got Legs. Let's head over to Single Cell Defense and talk about the Easter egg I found in that episode. Okay, so this flower shop right here with shattered glass is a reference to the episode Love That Squid. You guys seen the clips before this, so you get it, but this one's hilarious. I love that they even kept the shattered glass from Love That Squid. Here's Easter egg number 2.
Congratulations, Plankton! But remember, this technique is to be used strictly for self-defense.
Oh, of course, Sensei Sandy.
This one's kinda weak, but I'm gonna include it anyways. But as you heard, Sandy tells Plankton to only use self-defense for good, which is exactly what she told Squidward in Squid Defense.
Karate ain't for revenge. It's a delicate art that helps you protect yourself.
So maybe an Easter egg here, and even if it is one, it's kinda lame, so let's head over to one that's actually really good. I'm talking about Jolly Lodgers. Here's Easter egg number 1. It's easy to miss, okay? But when Squidward's bus arrives at Hotel Halibut, Jim's limousine from the original Fry Cook can be seen outside of the hotel, making for an awesome reference. I loved Jim the Fry Cook. He's from the original Fry Cook. There's another Easter egg in this episode, or I guess I should say Easter eggs, because it's like a ton of Easter eggs in one. There are numerous references to the episode I'm Your Biggest Fanatic. In I'm Your Biggest Fanatic, we learn that SpongeBob is obsessed with Kevin C. Cucumber, who's like a famous jellyfisher, and he attends a jellyfishing convention where we see Dr. Manowar and the Jelly Spotters. And all of these characters reappear in Jolly Lodgers. Anyways, next up is Star Robics. This is a season 3 episode of the Patrick Star Show, and I will say season 3 is like really good. Season 1 was like all right. It felt like it was made just for the purpose of a spin-off show, but season 3 is like really good, dude. But anyways, here's the first Easter egg from this episode.
35 million years to be precise.
As you can see, we get this shot right here of this time closet wheel, and there are multiple locations seen on it that are references to other locations from SpongeBob. For example, prehistoric Bikini Bottom, which we already talked about today, Random Land from SpongeBob and Random Land, I do not want to go there, Conch Street, the surface of the moon, and the future seen in SB129. Okay, one more Patrick Star Show episode. The episode is the Fun Bucket, and take a look at this.
Where would you like to go?
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah, that right there is Patrick's Department of Thoughts, which was originally seen in a season 6 SpongeBob episode. The episode is titled Chum Bucket Supreme. All right, back to regular SpongeBob. I know that's what you guys really want. Superstition. And this is a season 16 episode. In this one, Friday the 13th comes to Bikini Bottom. And as you guys know, Friday the 13th is the day where everybody is supposed to get bad luck. It's a superstition, and Mr. Krabs is terrified of this.
Oh, no! An indoor whistle brings luck's dismissal.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs needs to take a chill pill. Like, this guy is just, he's too much sometimes. Like, imagine Mr. Krabs being your boss. Not only do you have to deal with this type of nonsense, but also, this dude barely even pays SpongeBob, and as we've seen in previous episodes, SpongeBob barely gets any time off of work. This episode just came out, so I don't want to spoil it, so let's get right into the Easter egg. I'm gonna play the clip, and let's see if you guys can find it.
Ahoy, Mr. Krabs! Your morning cup of tea coming right up.
I imagine that a lot of you guys missed it, so let me explain, right? You know how it was going on before about Mr. Krabs being a lame boss? Well, if we rewind all the way back to the episode Stuck on the Roof, despite being a terrible boss over the years, we see that Mr. Krabs has this #1 boss mug right here. This thing right here, I'm highlighting it. But yeah, it's been quite some time since we've seen this mug. It only appeared in this episode Stuck on the Roof, which is a season 11 episode, so it's pretty old by now. However, the mug randomly appeared in the form of an Easter egg in this episode we're talking about, Superstition. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, that's a really cool Easter egg. Also, it kind of shows you how long it's been since season 11. We used to refer to SpongeBob season 11 as modern SpongeBob, but it's 10 years old now. So if you really think about it, these episodes like Stuck on the Roof are starting to become quote-unquote classics, but yeah. Let's do the episode Ma and Pa's Big Hurrah, another season 14 episode, which is all about SpongeBob's mom and dad making their first reappearance in a couple of episodes. That isn't the Easter egg though. So this one's debatable, but this seems to be a reference to the season 5 episode Roller Cowards. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick want to ride a new roller coaster at Glove World, the Fury Fisto Pain. It pretty much like kills people, but they really want to ride it. Now, in Ma and Pa's Big Hurrah, as you guys saw, when SpongeBob and his parents are at Glove World, they skate on a roller coaster that looks like pretty much identical to the Fury Fisto Pain. It isn't confirmed to be an Easter egg, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this is an Easter egg. Check out our next Easter egg in the episode Sponge Chovy. What a cool reference to the first ever episode of SpongeBob. It's not exactly identical, but it's very close, with SpongeBob sending numerous Krabby Patties out to anchovies just like he did in Help Wanted. All right, let's head over to Tango Tangle. It's all about Plankton and Karen taking dance classes, and they actually are kind of good, like they kind of slap, but I mean, come on, we're here for Easter eggs.
Love the new stems, Plankton. Whoa.
This one is really cool. So who remembers the episode I Heart Dancing? Yeah, well, who remembers the outfit that SpongeBob wears in this episode? This outfit right here. Look at my boy. I want to get one of those outfits for myself. Now, as you guys just saw in the clips we showed you in Tango Tangle, this exact costume is referenced. Here's the next Easter egg from the same episode.
Oh, yes. Yeehaw!
It did not go well.
In the last scene of that montage, Plankton is actually wearing the same zipper helmet from the iconic episode The Algae's Always Greener. Really, really cool. And believe it or not, I still got another Easter egg from the same episode. Alright, so last one from Tango Tangle, and then we're heading over to another episode. Anyways, this one is really special. So back in the episode Artist Unknown, Squidward over here teaches like an art class, alright? It doesn't go as planned, but the art classes take place at this place right here, the Adult Learning Center. Now, we haven't seen this location for years, like literally since Artist Unknown, so over 20 years. But look, in Tango Tangle, it briefly can be seen in this shot right here, making for like a heartwarming, nostalgic Easter egg. Really cool, and we've got plenty more like this coming up, so let's head over to our next episode. Next up, we've got 2 Easter eggs from the episode very strangely titled Necro Nom 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 Icon. And as weird as the title is, the episode's plot is actually really cool, with SpongeBob getting a magical spell book and him just causing all sorts of chaos. It's a good episode, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Here's the first Easter egg. Let's see if you guys can catch it.
Speaking of customers, stop bothering Mom.
Okay, so who remembers the episode Squeaky Boots? In this episode, Mr. Krabs is being a cheap father and decides to gift his daughter a pair of squeaky old boots. Pearl is obviously unhappy about this, but anyways, these squeaky boots are referenced as look, when Mr. Krabs is kicked out of a fish's cafe, he's kicked right in his big old butt with one of those squeaky boots. I definitely think it's the same boot.
Whoops, pardon me.
What a polite little hunk of cheese.
This one's blatant because it's not like some cameo or a character hidden in the background, but if you remember the episode Scavenger Pants, we were introduced to this lady right here, the Sand Witch. Now, we haven't seen her in a long time. It's been quite a while since we've seen this lady, but that all changes in Necro Nom Icon, whatever the episode's called, because look, she actually has a very prominent role in the episode. Really cool. Next up, we have Dr. Smart Science.
We now return to one of my favorite scientific topics, astronomy.
Okay, so back before your mom and sister started obsessing over astrology, Squidward over here was a big fan of astrology, like my boy was a crystal girly, as back in 2000 and 2001, there was this series of shorts called Astrology with Squidward that would air on Nickelodeon during the commercial breaks in between shows. Okay, so the history lesson is done now. Now we can break down the Easter egg, as despite not being referenced or talked about for years, Astrology with Squidward was actually referenced in this episode, Dr. Smart Science. As look, Patrick has a wheel with various SpongeBob characters representing the astrology signs. And to really show that this one is 100% a reference, some of the signs, for example, Leo, I'm doing a side-by-side, are even the same. But let's get back to something that a lot of you guys will actually catch, all right? Because like I said, this one was kind of a deep cut. Here's Easter egg number 2.
How does that work?
You guys know I love classic references, and that's exactly what this one is, as back in Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4, a big plot element is that Mermaid Man leaves this belt right here behind. It's his super belt. It has all these super abilities. SpongeBob plays with it and ends up shrinking Squidward down. And when he's trying to figure out how he can reverse this and get poor Squidward back to regular size, Patrick over here, being, you know, a genius, suggests that he flips the M to a W to put it in Wumbo mode. Yeah, well, Wumbo mode is somewhat referenced in Dr. Smart Science. As in the Patrick's How Does That Work intro, we can see this text right here saying Wumboology or Wumbology, making a clear nod or reference to what I was just mentioning from Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4. Next up, we've got Blood is Thicker Than Grease, which only has one Easter egg, but it's really, really cool. Roll that clip, guys, and here's a hint. It has to do with Plankton's family.
There's room for the whole Plankton clan!
Hell
Hello.
Like I said, I really like this one. So, back in Plankton's army, Plankton decides that he needs to team up with his family to take down Mr. Krabs. And before he actually meets them and eventually realizes that they're a bunch of rednecks, there's this scene where he imagines what they could look like. We get all sorts of different designs of Plankton's imaginary ancestors. And guess what? In Blood is Thicker Than Grease, during the scene we already showed you guys, look, several of Plankton's family members that he imagined appear in this scene. Plankton has an interesting imagination. But yeah, really cool Easter egg, guys, and let's keep it rolling to another episode. Next up, we've got the episode Chum Bucket List. And in this episode, there's the World of Friendship song. Now, throughout this song, there are a ton of Easter eggs. I'm gonna play a couple clips from the song, and then we'll start breaking down all of them. Try and see if you guys can spot any of the Easter eggs before I actually reveal them. Really cool. So during this shot right here of SpongeBob and Patrick's designs were actually storyboarded to channel the style of the first ever episode of SpongeBob. So they were actually drawn in a way where they look like season 1 versions of them. And we've got another one from this episode that happens after the song or after the montage. Roll the footage. Friendship. Did you guys catch it? So, after the song, this explosion is played. And it might seem familiar, because it's actually a reference to 3 older episodes. This exact same explosion clip was shown in Dying for Pie. It was then also used in The Krusty Plate, Frozen Face Off, and Neptune's Ball. And we still ain't done yet, gang. We've got more Easter eggs. Let's head over to another episode. It's in the episode Mamageddon, another season 14 episode that's actually really good, just saying. But I'm gonna play the clip, and I want you guys to pay attention to Squidward's pose, as this is the Easter egg, all right? Roll the footage.
I want my mommy!
Did you guys catch it? If not, don't worry. I do think that this one is kind of a reach. I'm only including this one because the internet, the SpongeBob community, has really decided that this one is an Easter egg. But supposedly, the pose that Squidward makes when he, SpongeBob, and Mr. Krabs whimper on the floor is a reference and is identical to the one he did in the episode Immunity on the Krusty right here. Also in the episode Out of the Picture in this scene. But guys, it's time to end this video off with a bang. Like I said, I saved the best for last. Here's our next episode. Coming in hot is the episode Pet the Rock, and this episode has so many Easter eggs. I don't know if we're gonna be able to cover all of them, but we're gonna cover as much as we can.
We can stop at the pet store on the way. Do any of these pets pique your fancy?
This one's really cool. So first things first, this worm right here seems to be a reference to Wormy. This crab right here, though, is 100% an Easter egg, as it's the exact same one from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. If we look right here, we can see sea chimps from the episode King Plankton. If we jump over here, we can see the sea whelks, referencing the episode Whelk Attack. If we pop over here, we can see Mrs. Puff's peanut worms from the episode Growth Sprout. There's also the earworm over here from the episode of the same name, Earworm. We can't forget about the sea bunnies over here from Bunny Hunt. And of course, we've got Pluffy or Puffy Fluffy, the cute thing that eventually tries to eat Gary from the episode A Pal for Gary. Crazy, dude. That's like 6 in 1 scene. Wild. Let's take a trip back in time over to SpongeBob season 5. This season was from all the way back in 2005, over 15 years ago, and the episode in particular is Slimy Dancing. You know, it's actually crazy that they were even doing Easter eggs this early on in the show's airing, like season 5. Anyways, though, let's get right into it. Here's the first Easter egg. I love this one. Who remembers the episode Sailor Mouth from back in the day? In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick come across sentence-enhancing spicy words, which are pretty much swears, all right? They're saying inappropriate words, and whenever they're said, we hear like this dolphin chirping sound effect. Listen for a second.
Hello, Patrick. Lovely day we're having, isn't it?
This day is particularly lovely.
Well, this is referenced in Slimy Dancing, as when Squidward starts getting the cramp, we can hear this dolphin chirp in the background, which is most likely due to him swearing due to the pain from the cramps, which is awesome. And by the way, fun fact, this was the second time the dolphin chirping swear noise was used for censorship over swearing. It hasn't actually been done since Sailor Mouth, so awesome reference to OG SpongeBob. And baby, we've got more. Let's keep it moving and head over to another episode. We're gonna be having a lot of fun today, guys, especially if you're a big fan of SpongeBob history. This next one's pretty neat. Now, I don't use the word neat often, but this one's more of like a fun fact. It's still an Easter egg, but you guys will really like this one. In the episode Buried in Time, we get a real life city imagined by Patrick, all right? Take a look at the clip.
What do you think Bikini Bottom will be like in the future?
Wow! Special drinking fountains for short people!
I dream of a town with the perfect blend of commerce and irrigation. Not to mention the breathtaking views.
Now, fun fact, it turns out this is a real place. It appears to be Burbank, California, the home and land of Nickelodeon Animation Studios. So, like I said, fun little fact. Let's keep it moving and get back to the real Easter eggs. Season 12 has some hit or miss episodes. Most of them are pretty good, and one of the good ones is Who Are Zoo, an episode where SpongeBob and Patrick create their own zoo made entirely out of bubbles. Pretty cool. I wish I could do that. This episode has 2 Easter eggs. Let's get right into it. Here's the first one. Keep those eyes peeled so it really makes sense. Now here's the thing for this one, if you got it, then you've watched a lot of SpongeBob, as it's a very specific reference that you'll only get if you watched the classic episode, The Thing. In this episode, Squidward gets covered in cement, and then everyone starts to think that he's some sort of creature. Of course, it's just Squidward covered in cement, but it gets so bad that the SWAT team comes in because of Patrick, and they take him to the zoo. More importantly though, they keep them in this new area known as the Species Unknown area, since they don't know what Squidward is. Well, this Species Unknown area, which only ever appeared in The Thing, can actually be seen in this episode in the background over here, which is an awesome reference. And this one is a clear reference. Like, the Species Unknown area, habitat area in the zoo has not been there since The Thing, so I love this one. Really cool reference. And there's another one that's really gonna warm your heart if you're an old school SpongeBob fan. Look at this.
Hello, folks. Please leave all your sharp objects at the gate. Okay, Grandpa, spread them.
Yeah, I love this one too. A pencil that resembles the magic pencil from the Frankendoodle episode. You know the episode with Doodle Bop. Here's a quick clip.
Aw, look at him. Ain't he a doll? Ready for action! Quack! Quack!
And the episode Doodle Dimension. Here's another quick clip.
SpongeBob!
Patrick, I'm right here. Aw, isn't he cute?
Yeah, that pencil is among the many items seen in the live-action close-up of Old Man Walker's box over here, which is awesome. I love Frankendoodle. They need to bring Doodlebop back again. Actually, wait, they did in season 14. I almost forgot. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's cover that episode. It has a really cool Easter egg in it. Now, I'm gonna get into the Easter eggs, but I really want you guys to take a look at some of these hilarious moments from this episode. It's a really good one, and then we'll get right into the Easter eggs.
Hey, my imagination box. I wonder if it still works. Oh boy, it's time for imagination.
Dude, season 14 so far has been pretty tight. I'm into it. You can see there's improvements being made. There's still some stinky episodes, but this one was a good one with lots of references. Here's the first one. You've probably seen some of them in the funny moments compilation we just did, but here are these awesome Easter eggs I was talking about.
Get off my sand!
What's happening?
Inside my imagination box, Squidward must be lost.
Lost in his own imagination.
So this one's simple. Pretty much, this entire episode is a sequel to the iconic episode Idiot Box. I mean, as you guys just saw, SpongeBob even does his iconic imagination animation, which is really cool. Also, here's a really fun one right here. As we learn in this episode, Squidward's imagination is the most active out of everyone's, which is why he's able to re-energize the box. By the way, we learn in this episode that the magic-like box is powered by people's imagination, and Squidward's imagination is so powerful he can recharge the thing. And this seems to directly tie in with the original episode, as if you think about it, in the end, Squidward ended up having the most fun in the box, and then he's taken away by a garbage dump, you know, in the original episode. But Squidward has the most fun with it, so it makes sense that his imagination would be the strongest. I'm rambling. There's another reference in this episode. Roll the footage.
Finally, a place with culture.
So back in the episode Mind the Gap, we were introduced to the Jazz Club, all right? And what's really important here is I want you to take a look at all of the patrons inside of it from the original episode Mind the Gap. Take a look at everybody inside, as some of these exact same people appear multiple seasons later in Squidiot Box when this episode returns to the Jazz Club. So really fun reference right here. Like, here's a side-by-side of some of the characters appearing. Love references like this. And let's keep it moving. We've got more Easter eggs coming up, baby, let's go. Next up is Squid Defense, and this one has a really weird Easter egg. Before we get into that though, I want you to take a look at some of these funny moments of Squidward learning karate. It's hilarious. We're gonna get right into the Easter egg afterwards, so stay tuned.
It is me, a big scary miscreant.
Take this! Hee-yah! Think that's gonna stop me? Hee-yah!
Okay, it's Easter egg time, baby. Roll the footage. This one's very obscure.
Come on, Squiddy, give it the old roundhouse.
All right. Hi-yah! Come back!
So this right here is the Slug Buddy punching bag, all right? It might seem like an insignificant background object or something like that. It first appeared back in the episode The Great Snail Race. In this clip right here, take a look.
Come on, Gary, move it. Up, down, down. Faster, go.
It then appeared later on in the episode The Way of the Sponge when SpongeBob is trying to get his black belt. Take a look at this clip. And this is where the Easter egg comes in, as it just randomly appears in Squid Defense in this scene. I already showed you guys the scene, but there it is, the Slug Buddy punching bag right there. Really cool that it reappeared again randomly in this scene. They could have used any punching bag, but I don't think it's a coincidence that they used this one with this design. It's 100% a callback. Here's another nostalgic one from an older episode, a much older episode. The reference can be found in the more recent episode though, Pat Hart's Squid, and it has to do with a certain garden. Here, take a look at this.
More luggage, please.
Did you catch it? Cause it's a special one. So back in the episode Truth or Square, as you guys seen, Squidward gets his garden, all right? And he loves this thing. And look, in Pat Hart's Squid, it reappears during this scene, which I love. I love that for my boy Squidward getting his garden back. Let's head over to Gary and Spot, and it references a classic episode from season 2, that being the episode Dumped. In this episode, SpongeBob gets his little heart broken when his pet snail, Gary, wants to spend more time with Patrick than himself. So, to try and make little Gary jealous, SpongeBob gets a new pet snail named Larry, who is not only a lot uglier, but a lot meaner too. Like, this snail just sucks. At one point, SpongeBob lets him sleep in his own bed, and he just ruins his bed. Now, since the episode Dumped, Larry has pretty much disappeared from the series, but he did pop up recently in the form of an Easter egg, as when Gary frees all of the creatures from the animal shelter in the episode Gary and Spot, Larry is one of them. thus making for a fun little callback to the show's second season, one of my favorite seasons. Okay, so let's talk about the season 16 episode, Pardon My Wand, as this episode has a ton of Easter eggs and they're all really interesting. But first, let me give you guys a little bit of context, that way the Easter eggs actually make sense. But yeah, in this one, SpongeBob gets this magic wand right here, and I mean, just think about it for a second. This is the same dude that when he became hall monitor at school, started walking around thinking he was a cop causing car accidents. SpongeBob and having the ability of magic is kind of a bad mix. It's an entertaining mix, it makes for a really good episode, but you guys know that SpongeBob is about to cause freaking mayhem.
What if we just cure your hiccups instead? I'll get you some water.
Huh? That'll fix it.
Okay, now you guys know the premise of the episode and we can get into the Easter eggs. And this first one is a really good one. You do have to be a SpongeBob nerd to get it. I'm gonna play the clip and let's see if you guys can spot the Easter egg, and then I'll come back in and I'll explain it. Okay, so who remembers the episode Hocus Pocus? This episode is like nearly 20 years old. It came out in 2007 in season 4. And in this episode, we were introduced to this place, the 1942 Wizard Street. And we were also introduced to Mr. Magic.
But what if I told you that you could change all that with the magic of magic?
Yeah, this guy right here. Now, we haven't seen Mr. Magic or that castle I was just talking about since Hocus Pocus, so it's been like nearly 19 years. But randomly, somebody decided to include it in this new SpongeBob episode, Pardon My Wand, right here. But it's a little different now. It seems that it's been redesigned and rebranded as Mr. Magic's Magic Shop. Like, it actually has a name now, and it seems to be a magician's performance venue. Also, we don't see Mr. Magic in the episode, but he cameos on the sign right here. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, really cool. I'm gonna move on to another one, but I really want to highlight this one's really random. Hocus Pocus isn't some iconic episode. It's a great episode, but it isn't like Eels and Escalators, the board game from Sailor Mouth. It isn't like that appearing in a newer episode. This one means that whoever wrote this episode went back and they did their research. However, this next Easter egg is a reference to like an iconic episode, Tea at the Tree Dome, which was Sandy's first ever appearance back in the day.
So, what's your name?
Sandy. So, what do y'all call yourself?
I'm SpongeBob!
Canonically, they've completely changed this now, especially with Camp Coral, as Sandy literally appears in Camp Coral, despite being seen literally meeting SpongeBob for the first time in Tea at the Tree Dome. But anyways, I want you guys to remember this orange bird right here that appears in this bird bath in Tea at the Tree Dome, as it's probably going to help you spot this next Easter egg. Roll the clip.
We gotta handle this enchanted doohickey real delicate like.
Yeah, this cutie reappears in Pardon My Wand for the first time in a long time. But it's really cool to see this character that's really never appeared since Tea at the Tree Dome reappear in this episode. It's very clearly a deliberate reference, and I freaking love these. In the iconic Season 2 episode Sailor Mouth, SpongeBob and Patrick learn some new spicy swear words from a dumpster outside of the Krusty Krab. Though they're told by Mr. Krabs not to use these bad words, they eventually ignore the old man and get themselves into some trouble. Well, Patrick gets SpongeBob into trouble when he goes to snitch on him. Before all of this happens though, we're given this iconic scene. Like, this scene is iconic, where SpongeBob and Patrick play a board game called Eels and Escalators, and it makes for a really funny scene. Well, 10 seasons later, in the episode Bubble Bass's Tab, I think it's a season 12 episode, this board game, Eels and Escalators, is referenced, with it appearing on SpongeBob's internal shelf of games.
Oh, the 3 deadly challenges! I got this game! Where is it? Game of Strife, Shoots and Bladders. Oh, here it is!
As you guys know, I'm a major fan of the Steven Hillenburg era of SpongeBob, so I loved this little nod. The season 10 episode, SpongeBob's Place, has a good plot, but I think the biggest thing this episode is known for is all of the wild Easter eggs. Now, I'm not going to cover this scene, which has like 8+ Easter eggs all in one shot, like holy cow, as we've covered it quite a few times already, but I did find another one, and it's spicy.
Hey! I see the problem! SpongeBob's not in the kitchen!
Remember the nasty patty that SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs prepared in the season 3 episode of the same name? Yeah, well, it appears again for the first time in a long time during this scene. There are some slight differences, but this was definitely a throwback to season 3, and I absolutely adore it.
Oops, I dropped it in the toilet.
Well, fish it out, and I'll dry it with me gym socks.
Squidward has referenced his groovy moves a few times, but the most notable reference, in my opinion, was in the episode Pat Heart Squid, as when Squidward tries dancing to attract people, at one point, his moves are precisely what he does in Culture Shock. And guess what? In response, the audience throws tomatoes at him, just like they did in that episode. Poor Squidward. Another classic SpongeBob episode that I loved as a kid was Season 2's Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm. This episode was pretty darn epic, with SpongeBob and Sandy teaming up and going on an adventure to find the Alaskan bullworm that has been terrorizing Bikini Bottom. Now in the end, they succeed and manage to lunge the thing off of a cliff, and for a while, it seemed like this would be the last we'd see of the Alaskan bullworm. That is, until the episode My Leg, as during the montage where SpongeBob is trying to purposefully damage Fred's leg, Fred sprinkles salt over his leg, then SpongeBob rings a bell, and the Alaskan bullworm slithers over to Fred. Pretty cool, huh? The episode, Appointment TV, has been covered many times on this channel, and that is due to it being full of Easter eggs. Like seriously, there is a good 5 to 10 Easter eggs in this episode, but today we're just going to focus on one. Back in the season 3 episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, and Mermaid Man dress up as the IJSLA, and Sandy dresses up as Miss Appear and wears this costume. Well, she wears the exact same costume 8 seasons later in Appointment TV, thus making for an awesome callback or Easter egg.
He may be half a mermaid, and he may be half a man, but to us he's more than a hero. He's our mermaid man.
Back in the classic episode, Chocolate with Nuts, SpongeBob and Patrick struggle with their newly founded door-to-door chocolate bar business. That is, until they come across this Barnacle Chips billboard, which inspires them to be a little more business savvy. Well, it actually inspires them to start lying to people, but yeah, well, as crazy as it sounds, this billboard has popped up quite a few times over the years as an Easter egg, with its most recent appearance being in the episode Teacher's Pests. Don't get me wrong, this is totally a really cool Easter egg, but I do find it funny that it's just a simple billboard. Nonetheless, I love classic references like these, so I hope to see it again in the future.
Eat barnacle chips, they're delicious.
They are most certainly not delicious.
Not the way I use them.
One of my favorite classic or iconic SpongeBob episodes is Season 3's Krusty Krab training video, an episode that parodies fast food training videos from the 90s and does a very good job at doing so. Now, as a kid, I absolutely loved this episode, so I was really happy when it got referenced in the episode Appointment TV. In this episode, a rare episode of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy is going to air on TV, and SpongeBob wants to record it. So at one point of the episode, we see him set up his VHS to record, and he looks at his tape collection to tape over a tape and record the show. And it seems that one of these tapes is the Krusty Krab training video, thus making for a really heartwarming and cool Easter egg.
Sounds like a lot of...
Hoopla!
Sounds like a lot of...
Hoopla!
Sounds like a...
Hoopla! Hoopla!
Next up, we have the episode Day of the Living Dad Jokes. And this is a The Patrick Star Show episode, but the Easter egg here is really important as it somewhat impacts SpongeBob lore. Just saying that, like SpongeBob lore sounds crazy, but it is a thing. But as you guys know, about a year ago, the Sandy Cheeks movie released on Netflix, a 3D animated film that was all about Sandy Cheeks, obviously, but it also introduced a ton of new characters from her family. Now, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but something that the SpongeBob creators have been doing lately is they've been bringing the SpongeBob universe together. So for example, characters introduced in their spin-off projects, so characters introduced in like the Patrick Star Show or the Sandy Cheeks movie or the Plankton movie, etc., they've been appearing in regular SpongeBob. And that's what we're going to be talking about here, as this episode marks the first time that we've ever gotten to see her relative, Paw Cheeks, this guy right here, who before this we've only ever seen him 3D animated, but in this episode it's the first time we get to see the character in traditional SpongeBob animation. So yeah, a quick one, but it's really cool, and roll the clip.
Hey, Sandy, what does a bee use to comb his hair? Honeycomb!
Yo, just saying before we continue, guys, if you're having fun, please consider subscribing. I'm really trying hard to hit 5K subscribers, and as you can see, we're really close. So if you're having fun and you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. I've got tons more coming. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up and let's talk about this next Easter egg. Next up is the episode Unidentified Flailing Octopus, another season 15 episode. This episode starts like many other SpongeBob episodes, with SpongeBob and Patrick annoying Squidward. They see a commercial about aliens and decide to become alien hunters. And in the midst of this, they end up waking up Squidward with their flashlights. Like, imagine your neighbors waking you up just because they wanted to hunt for aliens. It's probably even more annoying for Squidward because he doesn't believe in aliens. But this is actually the episode's whole plot twist, as in the end, aliens are real and they end up targeting Squidward.
At last, evidence of our ancient aquatic ancestors.
We must take the artifact back to the ship.
I don't want to spoil the episode, I'll save that for you guys, but let's get into the Easter eggs or trivia when it comes to this episode. The first one is very interesting, but you have to be a Patrick Star Show fan to actually understand it. If we rewind back to the Patrick Star Show season 1 episode, To Dad and Back, we were first introduced to the character General Grouper, this dude right here.
We could use a man with that star's speed and agility in outer space. Send him up to astronaut training on the double.
Yes, sir, General Grouper, sir.
Now, what's really cool is that this character is actually exclusive to the Patrick Star Show. He was introduced and debuted in the Patrick Star Show, and he's never actually appeared in SpongeBob. But this all changed in the episode we're talking about today, Unidentified Flailing Octopus, as look, he appears right here, making for a really cool Easter egg. It's awesome to see a character that was exclusive to a spin-off show pop up in SpongeBob.
General, what are the chances that these photos and videos are just a hoax?
99.99999%.
This has actually been a bit of a trend. If we go back to season 13 in the episode Something Narwhal This Way Comes, two characters, Narlene and Nobby, that were exclusive to Camp Coral and were introduced in Camp Coral, crossed over and finally made their first appearance in SpongeBob.
Narlene Narwhal? I haven't seen you since we were kids!
So it's pretty cool. Do you guys want to see this more often? Do you guys want to see more the Patrick Star Show exclusive characters or more Camp Coral exclusive characters appear in regular SpongeBob? Let me know in the comments. Our next set of Easter eggs, or well, Easter egg, there's only one, can be found in the episode Biscuit Ballyho. In this one, Sandy's science scouts, these characters right here, try to raise money for a trip to Mars by selling these biscuit boxes around town. Well, Mr. Krabs, being a greedy crab, decides to get in on the action himself, stealing Sandy's idea.
Crusty Doodles. Blech. These are just stale Krabby Patty buns.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs sucks, and this whole thing leads to like a town-wide war with both troops fighting to get sales. It's a fun, wild episode that I definitely recommend, but we're not here for that, we're here for Easter eggs, and there's one I want to talk about. I'm gonna roll the clip and then I'll explain it after. Roll the footage.
All right, Science Scouts, listen up. This here business is serious as a rattlesnake bite. So let's make sure we don't mess it up. If we earn enough money, We can finally afford that trip to Mars!
This is a very obscure reference, but some of the writing that Sandy uses in her blackboard in the beginning of the episode are references to one of my favorite episodes, SpongeBob in Random Land. Particularly this K equals AZ equation and 1220, which is the exact production code for the episode SpongeBob in Random Land, which is how we know for sure that this is a reference. And let's keep it rolling. I've got another episode coming up after this with more Easter eggs. In season 14, we got a really cool episode, Creepaway Camp, which technically was a crossover episode with Camp Coral, where SpongeBob and the rest of the gang get stalked by this mysterious figure while they attend a Camp Coral reunion.
It seems different somehow.
Looks like they changed the name to Kaka.
It's especially cool because this episode really puts Camp Coral into the normal, like regular SpongeBob canon. It isn't just a random show now and is directly referenced in SpongeBob, regular SpongeBob. But anyways, this episode has a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of trivia, so let's get right into it. So to kick things off, take a look at this opening shot, and there's like 4 Easter eggs in this one shot. And I'm gonna tell you guys, you might not catch them right away as they're Camp Coral references technically, but it's still cool, and this is all the same SpongeBob universe, so. But yeah, I'm gonna play the clip and then I'll explain. Like I said, 4 Easter eggs in one shot. For one, we have Moe's possessed intertube. This was originally in the Camp Coral episode Boo Light Special. Here's a side-by-side. Sandy's helmet from Helter Shelter, the Squidward-shaped rock from the episode In Search of Camp Nudist, and Patrick's shelter from the episode Squishery. Like I said, those were Camp Coral references, so you might not have caught them, but if you're a fan of OG SpongeBob, you'll definitely catch this next one. Let's take a look and I'll explain afterwards. Okay, so let's pause for a second and let's rewind back to the episode One Crab's Trash. This is an iconic episode, and in this episode we were introduced to these things, owl clams. Remember these things as they pop up again in Creepaway Camp, making their first reappearance in like over 20 years. These things only ever appeared in the episode One Crab's Trash, and as you can see, they appear here, devouring the invitations, making for a really cool reference. And here's another Easter egg. This one is really, really cool. So as you guys seen, Mr. Krabs has a pet worm, but this isn't the first time we've seen him. This right here is Mr. Doodles. We've seen him for the first time like 18 years ago in the episodes Sandy's Rocket. Here's his appearance in that episode, and in the episode As Seen on TV. Here's also a shot of that. But he appears for his first time in a long time in Creepaway Camp, and he's very, very cute. I want a pet worm. Would you guys get a pet worm if you could? Let me know in the comments. But back to Easter eggs, and the producers of this episode really went all out. There are a ton of Easter eggs, and a lot of them are really, really like interesting and kind of obscure. For example, in this scene right here, where Pearl gets laughed at by these girls. These girls aren't just any random characters. I'm gonna play this clip and they might seem familiar.
Hi, girls!
Hi, Pearl.
Are you guys coming to my Totally Coral birthday party tomorrow?
I don't know, Pearl. Is this gonna be as totally coral as last year?
Yeah, well, if we rewind back to the episode Whale of a Birthday, which we just did with the clips I just showed you, those same girls that laugh at Pearl in Creepaway Camp are her same friends from A Whale of a Birthday, which is another episode that's nearly 20 years old. Like, who thought of this? What cool attention to detail. And there's more. Take a look at this scene where all of the different cast members go on this bus to go back to Camp Coral. There's something in the background that is a reference to one of my favorite classic SpongeBob episodes. Roll the clip.
Suppose that makes sense.
Wait for me, dudes!
Did you guys catch it? So this sign right here, which reads, "You are now leaving Bikini Bottom," is actually from the episode Rock Bottom, and it's the exact same sign, which is really cool. Rock Bottom isn't even in this episode. It's just an awesome reference to that episode. And I've got even more. Take a look at this scene, which takes place at a party. There's a certain group of fish here in the crowd, and they're a reference to an older episode. Who remembers the nudist colony of fish from In Search of Camp Nudist?
Actually, I'm only partially nude. I like to think of myself as a bridge.
It's even stranger than I imagined.
Boy, fish sure look weird without clothes on, huh?
This is another Camp Coral reference, and this entire group of fish makes a cameo at the party right here. And here's a side-by-side. It's kind of cool seeing their 3D design and then seeing their 2D designs. Now, there's actually a bunch more in this episode, but I'm gonna save them for another video. But for now, let's head over to another episode, guys, with even more Easter eggs. You don't want to miss any of the Easter eggs I have coming up. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Whelk Attack, and it's pretty cool as it references one of my favorite older SpongeBob episodes, Suds. In this episode, a herd of large sea whelks invade Bikini Bottom, causing all sorts of problems. Why are they invading, you may ask? Well, it turns out that the whelks are sick, as explained by Sandy near the end of the episode. Now, during this scene, SpongeBob compares the whelks' sickness to Suds, the same illness SpongeBob had to deal with all the way back in the season 1 episode titled, well, Suds.
I know just what to do. After all, I've had the Suds. I just have to absorb the whelk snot, and they'll return to normal.
The episode SpongeBob's Last Stand is all about SpongeBob and Patrick protesting the demolition of their favorite Bikini Bottom location, Jellyfish Fields. Now, at one point, we see a parade celebrating the construction of the Shelly Superhighway. And if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll notice that the band of the parade is wearing the exact same outfits as Squidward's band in Band Geeks, thus making for another interesting little Easter egg. I love these season 1, 2, or 3 callbacks. They're the best. So who here is familiar with this character? This character is named Granny, and she along with Miss Grustlepuss are both pretty rare in terms of incidentals. They don't show up very often. Well, they make a slight cameo in the episode Grandma's Secret Recipe, as both characters appear while SpongeBob and Great Grandma are knitting. This isn't necessarily the most mind-blowing Easter egg or cameo, I'll admit, but hey, it's pretty cool. The next episode we'll be talking about today actually features 2 Easter eggs, so let's just skip the plot summary and get right to the good stuff. The first is a SpongeBob's Last Stand reference, with this Save the Jellyfish sign being shown in the pile of rubble. Another reference is this ukulele, as it's most likely a reference to the ukulele used by SpongeBob in the episode Fun, which is another reference to an older SpongeBob episode. I love those. In the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, SpongeBob develops amnesia after running away from Bikini Bottom and eventually finds himself in New Kelp City. This place is very similar to New York, and believe it or not, SpongeBob actually becomes mayor of this place. However, due to him having amnesia and forgetting his name, he goes by a new name.
It will always be safe to blow bubbles on the streets of New Kelp, or my name isn't Jesus Brown Pants.
Well, this is actually referenced in the season 7 episode One Course Meal, when Plankton literally refers to SpongeBob as Cheesehead.
What you doing laying in the middle of the road?
Go away, Cheesehead! Can't you see I'm trying to get run over?
In the season 6 episode, Krabby Road, Plankton creates an entire band just to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Now, it's a good episode with some great moments. And if we watch closely during the episode's opening, we can spot an interesting season 3 Easter egg. In the episode No Weenies Allowed, SpongeBob struggles to get into a new bar called the Salty Spittoon due to it only accepting the toughest of the toughest fish. SpongeBob is forced to wait in line with some of these tough fish, but this isn't the last time we've seen them. In the opening of the season 6 episode Krabby Road, they make their return, thus making for a fun little season 3 reference. They're in jail now, so I wonder what they did. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Suction Cup Symphony. This episode is all about Squidward writing his very own symphony. Now, during In this scene, just as Squidward finally finishes writing his song, he has the same look on his face that he had in the episode Squid's Day Off, during the scene where he locked himself inside his house. Oh, also, it isn't necessarily an Easter egg, I guess, but the fish playing the piano in this episode is actually the same fish that SpongeBob sits next to at Reef Cinema in the episode Something Smells. As most of you know, Squidward is an artist, so it's no surprise that one of his old paintings is referenced in Season 6. The painting in particular are his 483 self-portraits first seen in the episode Gone, and they appear when SpongeBob is having tea with Squidward in the episode Not Normal. Another reference can be found as SpongeBob and Patrick are belly sliding through town. As they go off a ramped truck, Oyster Stadium can be seen for the first time in a while as they are falling. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Boating Buddies. In this episode, instead of a typical SpongeBob boating school episode, is all about Squidward attending boating school after getting a ticket. As you can imagine, this was all SpongeBob's fault, of course. But luckily for him, SpongeBob decides to help out, eventually leading us to this scene where Squidward does his driving exam. For a few frames, the rare incidental character Granny appears, thus making her first appearance since her debut episode Have You Seen This Snail? Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Potato Puff, but we need to go back for it to actually make any sense. Mrs. Puff, as always, is stressed out and defeated after yet another failed driving lesson with SpongeBob. So she decides to just give him a license anyways so that she doesn't have to deal with him anymore.
Mrs. Puff,
Thank you, SpongeBob. Congratulations. Have a nice life.
Now when she gets home, if you look on the wall, there's a portrait of the exact frame on screen. This is known as a recursive image, and it's actually referenced in the opening of the season 13 episode Potato Puff. As look, there's a portrait of the exact frame going on in the episode on Mrs. Puff's wall yet again. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Squirrel Jelly, but it revolves around the season 1 episode Jellyfish Hunter. This episode is pretty messed up, with Mr. Krabs sending SpongeBob to collect jellyfish jelly so he can sell it as a condiment at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs completely abuses the situation and creates a factory for the jellyfish. It's really sad. One of the characters we're introduced to in this episode is Friend, aka No Name, a larger jellyfish that SpongeBob has a bond with. Now, since Jellyfish Hunter, we haven't seen this character. However, in the episode Squirrel Jelly, near the end of the episode, Friend can be seen in the background, thus making for an awesome reference or callback to an iconic episode. So in the season 13 episode, There Will Be Grease, Plankton and Mr. Krabs are forced to work together after discovering a well of miracle grease under their restaurants. They both have their own intentions with the grease. Mr. Krabs wants to use it to improve the Krusty Krab menu, while one of Plankton's uses would be to use the grease as lube for killer robots. And if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll notice that the robot shown in the thought bubble is Plankton's tank robot, the exact same one that appeared in the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Talk about a cool callback. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Bottle Burglars, and it references the iconic Season 2 episode Frankendoodle. In this episode, SpongeBob and Squidward accidentally let Plankton slip away with the coveted Krabby Patty secret formula. So as you can imagine, the episode is primarily focused on the not-so-dynamic duo trying to retrieve it. Well, spoiler alert, they do, and the episode has a happy ending. But if we watch closely, when Squidward turns on the Krusty Krab security footage, a drawing of Doodle Bob can be seen on the bottom of the table, referencing both Frankendoodle and Doodle Dimension. In the Season 2 episode, Survival of the Idiots, SpongeBob and Patrick overhear a dream Sandy has about fighting two very popular Western criminals, Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry, and eventually take on both personas as they play cowboys and bandits.
All right, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Now this eventually results in both Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan getting their butts absolutely handed to them, like they get their butts kicked and presumably killed, thus giving us these two gravestones with the names Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan on them. Well, these gravestones are referenced in the episode Shopping List, as both can be seen during this scene, thus making for a heartwarming little Easter egg for all of the longtime fans like myself. So this next one is a bit of a deep cut, so get ready, as what the episode references is very subtle. I didn't even realize it at first. In the episode Ghost Host, the Flying Dutchman realizes that he's lost his scary mojo. So to try and sharpen his skills, he tries to scare both SpongeBob and Squidward. It doesn't go very well, but during one of his attempts to scare SpongeBob, he transforms into this big red bug thing. And honestly, since this episode, we haven't really seen it since, but it seems that this exact transformation is referenced in the episode Ink Lemonade, as during this scene, where Squidward first enters the creepy nursery, there is a picture of this exact same big red bug that the Flying Dutchman turned into on the wall, thus making for, like I said, a really deep cut in terms of Easter eggs. Like, the Flying Dutchman transforms 50 plus times in Ghost Host, so it's interesting that they chose this one to reference in particular. In the episode Squeaky Boots, Mr. Krabs begins to freak out when he can't escape the sound of, well, squeaking. This drives our favorite crab crazy and gives us this scene where Mr. Krabs turns blue and begins to hear and see the word squeak everywhere. He has a total meltdown.
Could the world's greatest fry cook do this? And this, 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 and this.
Well, this scene seems to be directly referenced in the episode Plankton Paranoia, with this scene. Instead of Mr. Krabs freaking out about hearing or seeing the word squeaks, he's tripping out over plankton. Something absolutely terrible happens in the season 4 episode, All That Glitters. SpongeBob breaks his favorite spatula, and as you can imagine, this really ruins SpongeBob's day. Don't worry though, at the very end of the episode, we get this hilarious scene of SpongeBob being reunited with his old friend, and the episode ends with everything back to normal. Now the Easter egg in question can be found during this scene, and has to do with everyone's favorite incidental, Fred. If you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll know that this isn't the first time we've seen Fred in this outfit, as it's actually a reference to the outfit he wears in the classic season 3 episode, One Crab's Trash. It's really crazy to think that Plankton, of all characters, has his own movie, but what's even crazier is the amount of Easter eggs and references to old school SpongeBob that are hidden throughout this movie. But yeah, in this one, Karen, Plankton's computer wife, has pretty much had enough and eventually snaps on Plankton, kicking him out of his own house. Throughout the movie, Plankton ignores all of Karen's ideas, and Karen goes on to make her own successful restaurant, and Plankton even ruins that as well. So yeah, Karen's had enough and she snaps, she kicks him out, and she turns pretty evil. She actually turns into this thing right here, this three-headed evil thing that wants to take over the world.
I'm super snarky Karen, and this is super smart Karen, and this is super evil Karen.
Eventually, SpongeBob and Plankton work together, and I'm not going to spoil the entire ending, but as you can imagine, they figure everything out, and in the end, Karen stops acting like a Karen, I guess. But let's get into what you guys actually clicked on this video for, and that's the Easter eggs. And let's start off with all of Plankton's inventions. We see him use a ton of different gadgets and inventions throughout the film. For example, this thing, or this thing right here. And a lot of these are references to inventions he's used in the actual SpongeBob television show, or in other SpongeBob SquarePants movies. For example, the Chum Bucket helmet from the original SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the things used to control all of the Bikini Bottomites.
All hail Plankton!
Yeah, these things right here reappear in the Plankton movie. It takes place in this clip right here, with SpongeBob saying, "All hail Plankton." And that's just the start. There are a bunch more. For example, if we look at this scene right here, we'll spot Plankton's tank robot from another SpongeBob movie from Sponge Out of Water. Here's a side-by-side of both of them, and they're very similar. Another reference can also be found over here. During this scene, as we can see Air Plankton, which is also from Sponge Out of Water, also making an appearance in the Plankton movie. It's cool to see another movie referenced in this movie, but the rest of them are all references to older SpongeBob episodes. And they're all really, really cool. For example, who remembers the episode Married to the Money? In this episode, we were introduced to Kashina, a robot controlled by Plankton that was used to, of course, get the Krabby Patty secret formula.
This food is so delicious. Oh, you don't suppose it has a secret formula? I don't suppose you know anything about secrets or formulas.
Mr. Krabs, being obsessed with money, falls for this and actually falls in love with Kashina.
Kashina, you came into my life when I thought I'd live the rest of it alone. That while money can't buy you love, it can give you love.
Well, if we head back over to the Plankton movie and we pause at the right frame, look, Kashina from Married to the Money makes an appearance right here as an Easter egg. And here's another one. If we rewind back to the episode Enemy-in-Law, we were introduced to Chumbot.
Am I really that pretty?
And you guys guessed it, Chumbot also makes an appearance in the Plankton movie. Who would have thought that a character like Chumbot would be referenced as an Easter egg? You have to admit, you completely forgot about this character until now. Same thing with Kashina. And I'm not done yet. If we rewind back to the episode The Ghost of Plankton, we were introduced to not a character, but this machine right here, the ghost extracting machine. Well, it turns out that the writers of the Plankton movie remembered this one obscure item because look, it appears right here in the Plankton movie. If that wasn't already enough, back in the day there was the episode The Algae's Always Greener. And in this episode, Plankton and Mr. Krabs pretty much swap lives, with Plankton going on to become the owner of the Krusty Krab and Mr. Krabs being, just like Plankton, a savage always trying to steal the formula.
But the worst part of it is...
Good grief, he's naked!
Now, in order for Mr. Krabs and Plankton to switch lives, there was a very important piece of technology, the transmogrifter, this thing right here. And look, it appears in the Plankton movie. And I really like this reference because The Algae's Always Greener is a really old episode, and I love my old school Steven Hillenburg era SpongeBob references. But let's keep it moving, okay? You'll notice this robot right here, and it may look familiar. That's because it originally appeared in the old school SpongeBob episode Plankton's Army. And we're almost done with Plankton's inventions, don't worry, okay? Another one of Plankton's robots also appears as an Easter egg in the Plankton movie, but this time it's his death robot. This thing first appeared in the episode Eek and Urchin in this scene.
Send over my killer death robot, would you? No, the other one.
Yeah, it makes its reappearance in the Plankton movie right here. And here's a side-by-side. There's some subtle differences, but it's pretty much the same. And here's one more, okay? At one point in the movie, SpongeBob gets his pizza form. And this itself is actually a reference to the episode The Slumber Party.
Pizza!
I'm sorry, Mr. Krabs. I failed you.
I know, son.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, that's my eye.
And it tastes cold, too.
All right, that's gonna do it for Plankton's inventions, but we're not done with the Easter eggs yet. There's still more in the Plankton movie, so let's keep it rolling and talk about some more. Here's our next Easter egg, and I guess this one's kind of debatable. Let me know in the comments if you guys personally think that this is an Easter egg. I definitely do, and I'll explain. In the Plankton movie, we get this scene where SpongeBob hypnotizes Plankton, and when I was watching it, it kind of reminded me of this scene from the episode Fear of a Krabby Patty, as it seems to reflect the way that Plankton hypnotized SpongeBob, with the same red couch appearing. I'm showing them side by side, and as you can see, it's the same red couch. They're both hypnotizing each other, so this could be a reference. I don't know for sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
When I count to 3, you will fall into a deep sleep. 1, 2, 3.
Our next Easter egg is also really cool. The Plankton movie has a ton of cool Easter eggs, as you guys have seen so far. But if we head back over to the episode Blood is Thicker Than Grease, we were introduced to two characters, Ma Plankton and Gordon Plankton. Another important factor here is in that episode Blood is Thicker Than Grease, they have a potato family business.
We're here to stay, son. We're following your lead and starting up our own restaurant.
Bucket!
Well, this is actually referenced in the movie. For one, they appear in the movie, which is the only other time they've ever appeared in the series, and their potato family business is referenced.
I was born pure evil. First word was tyranny.
I guess this one is more just continuity, but it's really cool. I love when, they build the world like this and they play off of other episodes. It's cool. Here's another one where I'm not sure if this is 100% a reference or if it was just like a coincidence, but in the SpongeBob episode Goo Goo Gas, it's revealed that back in the day, Karen was a calculator when she was younger. Well, in the Plankton movie, we get this shot where she's seen as a calculator. Like I said, it might just be a coincidence. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This next one is definitely my favorite. So at one point, all right, Plankton gets this handsome gas sprayed on him, which, as you can imagine, handsome gas is gonna make you handsome. And guess who he ends up looking like? Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, he resembles handsome Squidward. One of SpongeBob's most iconic moments from the episode, the two faces of Squidward. This next one isn't necessarily an Easter egg, but it's something interesting, okay? So at the end of the Plankton movie, Plankton and Karen get married. And as you can see, all right, Plankton's wearing a regular black suit, and that's it. Remember this. As if we rewind back to the episode Computer Overload, we actually get a shot from this wedding right here. There's a photo of Plankton and Karen's wedding. The only difference is what Plankton's wearing though, all right? Plankton's just wearing the regular black suit in his movie, but in Computer Overload, in that photo, he had hair for one. He actually looks kind of fresh, and a blue suit. So maybe a reference, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And that's pretty much it for the Plankton movie, guys. That covers like pretty much all of the Easter eggs. Next up, let's talk about another SpongeBob movie, SpongeBob Sponge on the Run. This is a more recent SpongeBob movie, and I guess it's more of a legitimate one considering it was actually in theaters. And basically, in this film, Gary goes missing, so SpongeBob, Patrick, and the rest of the gang set off on a journey to find Gary. The movie also serves as like a setup and introduction for Camp Coral. I didn't really like that part of it, but I did like the movie overall. But anyways, let's get into the Easter eggs. There's a bunch of them, starting with something we already talked about today, and that's one of Plankton's robots, this robot right here. He originally appeared in the episode Plankton's Army, where Plankton builds this robot in the attempt to go to the Krusty Krab and order coral bits as a trick to eventually get the Krusty Krab Krabby Patty secret formula. Also appears in Sponge on the Run, as he can be seen in a background inside the chum bucket right here. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, here's another one. At one point in this film, Squidward says the following line.
Another day, another migraine.
Well, this line is a reference to an old school SpongeBob episode. If we go back to SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, Squidward says the exact same line in this episode.
Another day, another migraine.
On-time percentage, 12%.
Migraine.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that's an Easter egg. Let me know what you think in the comments though, and here's another one. At one point, we meet King Poseidon's tattoo artist, this mean looking guy right here, and we'll notice that if we look closely, there's this tattoo with the date May 1st, 1999. It's on his arm, and this is also a reference, as it turns out, May 1st, 1999 is the date that SpongeBob first ever aired on television. Another really cool reference is a reference to the first SpongeBob movie. In this movie, we get this scene where we see the basement of the Krusty Krab and eventually the paddy wagon. Now, it isn't identical, but we get a very similar scene in Sponge on the Run. Not only do we see the same basement, here's a side-by-side, and this is the same location from the first movie, but we get something similar to the paddy wagon. If we do a side-by-side, you'll notice that the paddy wagon was more of like a Krabby Patty, whereas this new one is more of like a Subway sub, right? I guess? I don't know, now I'm hungry. If we head over to this shot where Plankton says the following lines,
never hurts to employ a little hyperbole.
If you look closely when Plankton says this line, he poses very similarly to this random piece of like stock Plankton artwork. Here's a side-by-side and yeah. Now for this next one to make sense, we have to go back a little. When this movie was first announced, there was a bunch of promotional material released. For example, this Lost Pet promotional poster. If we look closely, we see that it lists Gary as Gare Bear, which is actually accurate. This is a name that SpongeBob has literally referred to Gary as before, more specifically in the episode Crabborg.
Gary? Gary? Gare Bear?
Speaking of that same poster, there's another really cool Easter egg revolving around it. And as you can see, there's a phone number on it right here. And back in the day, if you called this number, you'd get the following recording of SpongeBob.
You've reached SpongeBob and the Find Gary hotline. If you've seen my beloved pet snail, please leave a message after the beep. Okay, now how do I make the beep? Is there a special button? What do I press? Maybe I'll just hang up. Do I say the beep? Boop! Oh, shoot, I booped. I should have beeped. Beep!
This was a really cool level of attention to detail just for a movie, and I remember it really getting me excited at the time. But once the film came out, there was a glaring issue. They do this whole Camp Coral thing. And to be blunt with you guys, this was done to promote Camp Coral, the show, which ended up coming out like a year later. But this decision kind of just took a big poop on SpongeBob lore. As if we rewind back to the SpongeBob episode Treats, there's this photo which shows that SpongeBob met Gary at a pound. That's how he got Gary.
Oh, Gary! It's a framed photo of the moment I picked you out at the pound. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
So I guess it isn't an Easter egg, but it's something I wanted to point out. The whole SpongeBob meeting Gary at Camp Coral thing is like a major inaccuracy. And that isn't it. If we take a look at Sandy, they do the same thing, where they try to say that SpongeBob first met Sandy back in Camp Coral, but this literally isn't true, guys. Like, there's a whole episode dedicated to SpongeBob and Sandy meeting tea at the Tree Dome. An iconic episode. It's like the third or second episode ever of SpongeBob.
So, what's your name?
Sandy. So, what do y'all call yourself? I'm SpongeBob!
So yeah, it would be impossible for SpongeBob to meet Sandy at Camp Coral. But yeah, let's keep it moving. I got a couple more Easter eggs left from this movie, and then we'll talk about some more from another movie. Let's rewind back to those earlier scenes with Plankton, as there's more references there. As if we take a look at Plankton's wall of failure, there are a bunch of references to his previous schemes from previous episodes. And we're gonna go one by one. For example, there's this one, which references the episode Culture Shock. Here's a side-by-side of what it's referencing. There's this one referencing Welcome to the Chum Bucket. This one referencing The Algae's Always Greener. This one right here, which references the Krusty Krab training video episode. This one, which references the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie. These are a bunch of references, and there's some more here. I'm not gonna mention every single one of them, but how cool is that? I'm still not done yet with Sponge on the Run, guys. And this next one is very, very obscure. I really like this one, as you have to be a nerd to catch it. It happens during the flashback scene where Squidward has a flashback of the camp's talent show. If we pause right here, we'll see that Sandy is seen juggling chainsaws. And this isn't random. We know that Sandy likes to do extreme things. We've seen her do many extreme things. But we've actually seen this whole juggling a chainsaw thing before. If we rewind to the episode Squirrel Record, look, she does the same thing.
Most chainsaws juggled.
This one, you need the eyes of a hawk to catch it, okay? You need to go like super detective mode to catch this, okay? But during one scene at the Krusty Krab, if you look closely, you'll see this sketch right here on the cashier window. And it might just seem like a random sketch of SpongeBob, but this is actually a sketch of Sponge Boy, which is a reference to SpongeBob's origins. For those of you who don't know, back before SpongeBob was SpongeBob, he was Sponge Boy. But due to some issues with copyright, specifically with this Sponge character right here that was on a pen, they had to rebrand the character and change his name from SpongeBoy to SpongeBob. And this sketch is one of his prototype designs. So yeah, a really cool Easter egg and a good way to end it off. The episode, 20,000 Patties Under the Sea, has an Easter egg in its title. For those who may not know, the title is a reference to a Julie Verne novel, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's not the only Easter egg present in this episode though. The con man from the episode Chocolate with Nuts is back again, and he cons SpongeBob and Patrick once more. Now after he cons SpongeBob and Patrick, he says, "Hey, thanks again guys." This means he remembers the characters from the last time he conned them. Another cool thing you may not have known about this episode is that Gene Simmons from the band Kiss plays the sea monster in the episode. Pretty cool. One of my favorite SpongeBob episodes is Season 3's Just One Bite. In this episode, Squidward tastes his very first Krabby Patty, and though he lies and claims to hate them at first, by the end of the episode, we find out the truth. SpongeBob reveals that there is a patty vault hidden in the Krusty Krab that contains hundreds of Krabby Patties, and in the ending scene, we see Squidward break into this place to get his fix. Now aside from this episode, we haven't really seen the Patty Vault since. However, it does appear in the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 6 in the form of an Easter egg. It's only on screen for a short amount of time, but it can be found during this scene. The next Easter egg on this list comes from the Season 5 episode, To Love a Patty. This episode focuses on SpongeBob falling in love with a Krabby Patty. SpongeBob is so in love with this Krabby Patty that he saves the burger from being eaten. But take a look at the person who is about to eat the Krabby Patty. Does he look familiar to you? Well, if you're a true SpongeBob veteran, he should. This is the same fish who briefly appears in the episodes Shanghai and Krabbyland. The next Easter egg on this list comes from the episode Picture Day. In this episode, SpongeBob is trying his best to look good for his boating school picture. However, things aren't really going in the poor guy's favor.
Oatmeal!
At the end of the episode, we see the picture that ends up being taken, but you may be wondering why all the other pictures are, well, humans and not fish or SpongeBob characters. Well, that's because what you're looking at is actually the creator of SpongeBob, Stephen Hillenburg's yearbook, and Stephen Hillenburg's picture is replaced with SpongeBob's. Our next Easter egg can be found in the Season 13 episode Upturned Girls. I know we've covered it a lot recently, but this Easter egg is really cool and new, but it is a little complicated, so pay attention. In the episode Squeaky Boots, it's Pearl's birthday, so we learn about flipper slippers, new shoes that are a bit of a fad amongst teenagers and seem to be especially popular with young girls. Pearl wanted these for her birthday. She doesn't get them, but all of her friends wear them, and we know that Pearl really likes these and really like shoes. Well, it seems that these shoes are referenced in the episode Upturned Girls, as when Pearl and Narlene enter the shoe area, there is a poster on the wall for what seems to be new, updated, or evolved versions of the shoes. I know this for sure because at one angle, we can see at the bottom that the shoes are by Flipper. And like I said, the shoes that they're referencing are called Flipper Slippers.
Don't forget my new Flipper Slippers, Daddy.
Definitely a really cool Easter egg here. Whoever wrote this episode, this is a really cool one. One of my favorite SpongeBob episodes is Season 1's Bubble Stand, where SpongeBob and Patrick do their best to introduce Squidward to blowing bubbles. Squidward really struggles at first, and boy is it hilarious to watch. But the episode's best moment, in my opinion, is when SpongeBob rotates his body to demonstrate and repeats the sentence, "Bring it around town." I mean, come on, if you're a longtime fan, then you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. It's iconic. Well, in the opening of the episode Mimic Madness, this iconic scene is referenced, thus making for a really cool Easter egg. SpongeBob does the exact same thing and even says, "Bring it around town."
Whoa, you tell him, Mr. Krabs! Bring it around town! Yeah!
In the episode we were introduced to Patar, SpongeGar, and Squaw, the prehistoric counterparts to SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. These three are quite the trio, and we hadn't really seen them since Season 3. Well, that is, until the Season 5 episode, Atlantis Square Pantis. In this episode, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, and Sandy, journey to Atlantis, with Plankton secretly attending as well. And the episode turns into a bit of a musical, with everyone performing a song at one point. Now, if we pay attention during Squidward's song, we can find a few familiar characters, as SpongeGar, along with Patar and Squog, make a small little cameo. Pretty cool, huh? The character Lady Upturn was first introduced in the episode Krusty Catering, and has been quite the reoccurring character ever since, with her even being included in the SpongeBob spin-off Camp Coral, with a major role. Well, the episode Upturn Girls, an episode we already talked about today, gave Lady Upturn's character even more personality, with Lady Upturn getting her own luxury shop called Upturn's. If we watch closely during this scene, we can see that an extremely rare incidental makes their first appearance in nearly 20 years, that being the female collector, who made her last appearance in the season 3 episode One Krabs Trash, where she wants to buy the soda drinking hat for Mr. Krabs. Talk about a long-lost character. Our next Easter egg can be found in the season 12 episode, The Nitwitting. There are actually a few found in this episode, so let's just get right into them. As SpongeBob mopily walks through this alley, there are a bunch of references to older episodes. My favorite of the bunch is this graffiti drawing of Doodlebob referencing the iconic season 2 episode Frankendoodle. More importantly though, is this graffiti reading Squidward Smells, as this is a reference to one of my personal favorite SpongeBob episodes, Sailor Mouth. There are a few other small references, but these two are definitely the best of the best. Leave a comment down below letting me know any that I missed. SpongeBob has encountered a ton of interesting pets throughout the show's 13 seasons, ranging from other pet snails to a pet worm to even a pet seahorse. Well, there's a little callback to this in the episode The Clam Whisperer, as when SpongeBob is seen following some clams, 3 classic pets can be seen drinking out of a river with straws. Larry the Snail from the season 2 episode Dumped, Rex the Worm, also from the same episode Dumped, and finally, Mystery the Seahorse from the episode My Pretty Seahorse. It's cool to see all of these pets show up all in one episode for one Easter egg. This next one also has to do with our favorite seahorse, Mystery. So let's skip the plot summary and get right into the Easter egg, as Mystery makes a really cool, and I mean really cool, cameo in the episode Gary and Spot, and can be seen during this dance party scene. Oh, also, the classic character, Pluffy Fluffy, from the episode A Pal for Gary, you might remember it turns into a monster, also makes an appearance in this episode. It can be seen in this cage during this scene, thus making for another nostalgic Easter egg. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode The Ballad of Filthy Muck. This episode is all about Patrick going out of his way to become the most grossest and stinkiest person in all of Bikini Bottom. But more importantly, the episode also has a really cool Easter egg. If you look closely, during this scene, an ice cream sign at Glove World says glove flavor. And though this might seem like nothing, it's actually a reference to the candy glove flavor that SpongeBob literally ate in the iconic episode Rock Bottom at the location of the same name.
Ew, glove flavored.
So I guess this next one is less of an Easter egg and more of a theory. In the episode Food Con Castaways, SpongeBob and the gang find themselves lost in a random forest. Now throughout the episode, the forest isn't given an actual name, but a lot of people online speculate that this could be Kelp Forest, the same forest from the iconic season 3 episode Club SpongeBob. We don't know for sure, but if you need some more proof, it seems the title card for Food Con Castaways is taken from a background scene of Club SpongeBob. Another cool Easter egg can be found in the episode Biddy Sitting. Well, to be honest with you guys, the entire second half of the episode is essentially an Easter egg, as it features 2 classic characters. In the episode Chocolate with Nuts, SpongeBob goes door to door with Patrick, lying to people about their magic chocolate bars, and eventually come across this dynamic duo, Incidental 87, aka Mary, and her mother. Well, Mary has shown up a few times over the years since her debut, but her mother has been absent ever since Chocolate with Nuts, that is, until a few years ago, as she plays a major role in the episode Biddy Sitting, and it is a major nostalgia trip. SpongeBob Season 5 isn't a bad season, but it definitely isn't the best. However, there is one Season 5 episode that I actually really enjoyed, and that's The Donut of Shame. This episode is very short, I think it's only 4 or 5 minutes, but it's sweet and features a hilarious plot where Patrick panics due to accidentally eating SpongeBob's donut after a late night of partying. Well, this episode is referenced in the season 9 episode, The Executive Treatment. It happens very fast, but during this scene, Patrick begins to freak out about the donut before, well, being insulted by Squidward. This one you kind of have to hear it for it to really make sense, so I'm going to show a clip.
But I never wanted anything so much in my whole life! Since this morning when I wanted a donut and I ate that donut, and it was great!
A lot of that donut is still on your face.
In the episode, Mermaid Man vs. SpongeBob, the Krusty Krab introduces a new promotional item that collaborates with Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, known as the Krusty Kids Meal. This thing even comes with a Mermaid Man toy, so you know that the superhero duo's biggest fan, SpongeBob, got his hands on one. Well, we know for sure now, after the episode Appointment TV, as in the episode's intro, SpongeBob has one of the Krusty Kids Meals on his shelf. Talk about a true collector. So I'll admit that this last one is a little bit iffy, but in the episode Just One Bite, we see SpongeBob throw on these spicy reading glasses as he pages through a dictionary. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is a direct reference or not, but it seems that SpongeBob wears these exact same glasses in the episode Stanley S. SquarePants. I don't know for sure, but they're pretty much identical, like they are identical. Leave a comment though. Do you think they're the same glasses? And do you think that this is a direct Easter egg? Leave a comment. As a lot of our longtime viewers know, Season 1's Pizza Delivery is one of my all-time favorite episodes, with it being all about SpongeBob and Squidward going on a little pizza delivery adventure and doing everything they can to get this box of pizza to its destination.
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza absolutively.
Now, I don't know if the Krusty Krab still serves pizza to this day, but it is possible, considering that a Krusty Krab pizza box did pop up in a recent episode as an Easter egg. It's easy to miss, but in the episode Plankton Gets the Boot, a Krusty Krab pizza can be seen in SpongeBob's house when he and Plankton are watching a movie in the living room.
Many unbearable hours later.
Oh my love, what a fool I've been.
Pretty cool. Now, you probably can notice there are a bunch of other Easter eggs in the shot, but I'm gonna leave you guys to find them, so leave a comment. What other Easter eggs are in this shot? Anyways though, we have seen many superheroes and supervillains throughout SpongeBob, mainly due to there being so many Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes. I love them. Some of my favorite episodes. A lot of them have stuck around. For example, the Dirty Bubble or Man Ray, but there have been a lot that have just disappeared. One often forgotten supervillain is the evil Jumbo Shrimp, who made his first appearance in Season 1's Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2. Since his debut, he's made a few more appearances, but they've been far and few apart. That is, until the Season 11 episode Squid Noir, as Jumbo Shrimp appears as a poster and an action figure in near mint comic books. It's pretty cool. So this next one could possibly be a coincidence, so let me know what your personal opinion is in the comments. We've heard Squidward jam out on his clarinet many times, and in the episode SquidBob Tentacle Plants, we hear him play a very specific tune.
Good morning, Squidward. And isn't it a lovely morning? Why are you playing the clarinet on your way to work?
Well, this song seems to be referenced 2 seasons later in the episode No Hat for Pat, as when Squidward plays the clarinet, he plays the exact same track he performed in SquidBob Tentacle Pants, thus making for a possible Easter egg. They might have just reused the same clarinet track, but it also could have been a reference. We don't know for sure. Now, I'm going to show more clips, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. Seriously. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, here's those clips.
That horrible noise! Let's get out of here!
Good morning, Squidward. And isn't it a lovely morning? Why are you playing the clarinet on your way to work?
Some of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob are the superhero-themed ones, where we get to see Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy, and even some villains like the Dirty Bubble or Man Ray get into some action. Now in the Season 3 episode, Mermaid Man vs. Barnacle Boy 5, we were introduced to the Chief, the head of the International Justice League of Super Acquaintances. This guy pretty much sends Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy, and the rest of the IJLSA on missions, and though his role was pretty important in earlier seasons, seasons, the character has not been seen very often since. Well, that all changed in the episode Swamp Mates, as not only does the chief make his long-awaited return on the screen in the Merma layer, but he also appears at the end of the episode as well. They even got the same original actor from season 3, which is like 20 years ago, to reprise his role, thus making the Easter egg even more awesome.
Woohoo! This completes my collection!
We've seen plenty of board games in the SpongeBob universe, but one of my favorites is the Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt from the season 1 episode, Arg. This game nearly drives Mr. Krabs insane, with him eventually taking things way too seriously and using the game's map for a treasure hunt. To be fair, Mr. Krabs' plan does actually work, and they eventually find the treasure by the end of the episode, despite using a map from a board game. But this was the last we'd see of the board game for a little while. That was until the season 6 episode, Toy Store of Doom, as at one point, SpongeBob takes the Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt board game out of a chest and asks Patrick if he wants to play it, only for him to decline it like everything else SpongeBob suggests. Pretty cool.
Buried treasure board game?
Sheldon Plankton is quite the inventor, with the innocent yet evil little guy creating all sorts of gadgets, weapons, and robots. But there has been one invention of his that has popped up multiple times, and that's Robot Plankton. Making his first appearance in the second SpongeBob movie, the robot has appeared twice, with the most recent appearance being in the episode Plankton Retires. The design is pretty much identical, so I would personally say that this was an intentional Easter egg by the art team. So this next one can be found in the season 13 episode Uptown Girls, and is based around two characters first introduced in Camp Coral. These two are Ro and Rhea, Lady Upturn's two cabin roommates from, well, Camp Coral. Well, the episode Uptown Girls gives us a little update on what happened to both characters after Camp Coral via various posters in Lady Upturn's shop, with Ro becoming a clothing model based on this poster, and Rhea becoming the face of a perfume company based on this other poster. Our next Easter egg, or well, I guess Easter eggs, are hidden in the fairly recent season 13 episode Say Ah. Now there have been hundreds of incidentals introduced over the years. This can sometimes result in older ones being discontinued. But fortunately for us longtime fans, the episode Say Ah brings a total of 3 discontinued incidentals back for the first time in like 20 to 22 years. First up is Incidental 62, who makes their first appearance since the season 3 episode New Student Starfish. There is also Incidental 66, who was last seen in the season 1 episode Fools in April. Oh, and finally, Incidental 71, who hasn't been seen since season 2's Patty Hype. Pretty cool, so listen up, as this next Easter egg is a little complex. In SpongeBob, every episode has a production code, and sometimes these production codes will be hidden in episodes as Easter eggs. So, as you can imagine, this is exactly the case in the episode Food PBFFT Truck, as one of the signs at the Rock Bottom Mall reads SB138, which is actually a reference to the production code of the season 1 episode Rock Bottom, which makes sense because it's in the Rock Bottom Mall. So yeah, it's very subtle, but boy, is it cool to see such an iconic episode referenced in the modern day. Our next Easter egg can be found in another recent SpongeBob episode, Patrick the Mailman. This Easter egg is similar to the one found in Say Ah, as it has to do with a long-lost character, that being SpongeBob's jellyfishing idol, Kevin C. Cucumber. Kevin made his first appearance in the episode I'm Your Biggest Fanatic, but since then, we haven't really seen him for a while. Well, that is until Patrick the Mailman, as this episode marks Kevin C. Cucumber's first major appearance since I'm Your Biggest Fanatic from season 2, thus making for a really cool callback. So in the world of SpongeBob, it seems that everyone wants a pet snail, with them pretty much serving as dogs or cats. Heck, even Squidward gets one at one point. Remember Snelly? Well, one snail that is often forgotten is Mrs. Puff's pet snail, Annette. She made her first appearance in the season 3 special, The Sponge Who Could Fly, but sadly has not been seen much since. Well, this all changed in the season 12 episode, My Two Krabses. During this scene, we can see that Mrs. Puff has a picture of Annette in her house, thus making for a neat little reference. I do wonder though, what happened to the snail? Like, Does Mrs. Puff still have her? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Our next Easter egg can be found in the season 9 episode Bulletin Board, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. This is a cool one. In this episode, the Krusty Krab puts up a community bulletin board and lets customers use the board for feedback. Now, this episode is actually pretty good, but it's not the plot that matters. What actually matters is this Easter egg. In the classic episode, it's literally just titled there is a gag where Patrick, or well, Patar, his distant ancestor, puts salt on his hand and tries to eat it. It happens a couple times throughout the episode. Well, it seems this is referenced in Bulletin Board, as this exact same gag happens during this scene. You can see Patrick put his hand into his mouth, salt it, and put it back in. What a cool Easter egg. Our next Easter egg revolves around the season 1 episode, Muscle Bob Buff Pants. After getting roasted by Sandy for not being as strong or fit, SpongeBob resorts to some interesting methods to prove her wrong, and purchases a new product he sees on TV known as anchor arms. These things are pretty much gloves that can be inflated with air to look like muscles, and SpongeBob is sold pretty fast after seeing the commercial, with him ordering himself a pair so he can lie and flex on all of his friends. Well, this devious product is actually referenced in the season 11 episode Handemonium. Right at the beginning of the episode, we see the outside of Larry's gym, and if you look closely, there is graffiti that reads "Anchor arms are for wimps," thus making a direct reference to the classic season 1 episode. There's also another Easter egg here, but let me know in the comments if you spotted it. The episode One Course Meal is all about Plankton, with us learning that he has an extreme, and I mean extreme, fear of Pearl, due to her being a whale. This is actually really funny, as it's scientifically accurate due to whales being able to consume about 15 tons of plankton in one single day. Plankton's fear of Pearl was recently referenced in the episode The Ghost of Plankton. In this episode, the Flying Dutchman teaches Plankton how to be a ghost, and when he showcases his transformation skills, he turns into Pearl, and this scares the absolute heck out of Plankton. In the episode Nasty Patty, another classic SpongeBob episode, this episode is a banger. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs are confronted by a health inspector who wants to try everything on the menu to see if everything is up to the health code. This guy's name is Health Inspector Yellowtail Andy, and to be honest, we haven't seen him much since this episode. He has appeared a few other times, but he's usually a different color, but recently in the episode A Place for Pets in season 13, he made a big return, and he looks how he used to look, the way he looks in Nasty Patty. This was a really cool reference, and it's awesome to see such an iconic character return to the show, even though it was a fairly minor cameo. But anyways, here's a clip of both appearances with audio.
I'm going to need you to bring me one of everything on the menu.
Fresh sludge pudding.
More diet red tie.
Some fried
Please, gentlemen! Leave me to finish my work in peace.
Hold it right there, Krabs.
Oh no! The health inspector!
Oh yes, the health inspector.
In the episode Wet Painters, SpongeBob and Patrick are tasked by Mr. Krabs to clean the inside, or well, paint the inside of Mr. Krabs' house, at the cost of their behinds if anything other than the wall gets painted on. Well, spoiler alert, something other than the wall does get painted on, and that's Mr. Krabs' iconic first ever dollar. Now in the end, everything works out when we find out that the paint can just be removed with a little bit of saliva. Plot twist. But after this episode, Mr. Krabs' first dollar has kind of gone missing. We haven't really seen it since. That is, until the episode Bottle Burglars. As in this episode, the dollar is one of the objects that SpongeBob cleans on cleaning day. He actually ruins it. He scrubs it so hard that it turns into a quarter and then a penny before it completely disappears. But don't worry, SpongeBob just replaces it with a random $1 bill from his pocket, and Mr. Krabs never even notices. But talk about a cool Easter egg.
This paint actually comes off with saliva.
You told us the paint was permanent, so me and Patrick would be more careful and not get paint on anything.
Nah, I just like to mess with you.
Aw, Mr. Krabs' first dollar. How many what?
Don't forget to clean the safe, boys.
The character, Flats the Flounder, made multiple appearances in early seasons of SpongeBob. For example, Sandy's Rocket, Texas, but most notably The Bully, where he plays a major role, where he pretty much wants to kick SpongeBob's butt throughout the entire episode just for sitting beside him and saying, "Hey, poor SpongeBob." Now, since The Bully, he hasn't had very many appearances. He has appeared a few times, but it has been fairly limited. That was until the episode Don't Feed the Clowns, as he's actually a customer of the bakery who gets knocked out by getting hit with a pie. Talk about a cool reference. It's nice to see Flats the Flounder back in action again, especially in a more recent episode.
SpongeBob! I can't believe you beat up a new student. I'm going to kick your butt!
In the episode Captain Pipsqueak, Plankton comes up with the ultimate plan to join the League of Evil so that he can take over the world and, of course, steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Well, in order to do this, Plankton has to do an addition, and during this scene, we see numerous villains from previous episodes show up for an addition as well. And boy, oh boy, does it make for an epic scene full of references. First up is Dennis from the first SpongeBob movie. Then there's this guy, a thug who steals the paddy wagon, also from the first movie, Dr. Negative, Squidward's villain counterpart from the episode Mermaid Pants, really good episode by the way. There's also Madame Hagfish, the Earworm, Robot Mantis, Nosferatu, Gordon the Viking, Dorsal Dan, and my favorites, the Strangler from the episode Tattletale Strangler, and Doodle Bob from the episode Frankendoodle. That is like 12 to 13 references in one scene. Crazy.
Dude, sign in and wait your turn.
Get out of the car, fellas.
Take all your money and put it in the bag.
No, Mr. Bob, I expect you to fry.
When the full moon rises.
I am the Strangler. I'm the Strangler.
What is this?
To be or line?
Our next Easter egg can be found in the season 13 episode Upturned Girls, an episode we've admittedly talked about a lot recently, but only because the episode is full of spicy Easter eggs. Now, the Easter egg in question has to do with this obscure SpongeBob villain, the Atomic Flounder. This supervillain was formerly an enemy of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and made his first appearance in the season 1 episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2, as an old retired version of himself that gets attacked by SpongeBob. Now, since season 1, the character has barely been seen, let alone mentioned. That is, until the episode Upturned Girls, as when Pearl and Narlene first arrive at Upturns, the exact same old retired version of the Atomic Flounder makes his first appearance in 20 plus years, making for a really cool little reference.
If I weren't retired, I'd... Do that!
Okay, so I know we already talked about this episode today, but let's head back over to Captain Pipsqueak for a second. Now, when we first mentioned this episode, I went over all of its cool references to past episodes, but I did leave one out, and this is due to it not being from a SpongeBob episode, but from a SpongeBob video game, and that's this blue little dude known as Prawn. Prawn made his first appearance in the SpongeBob video game, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's really cool to see Prawn make his way over to the actual TV show. I wonder though, does this mean that SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom is now canon? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious.
Did someone call? Oh, I thought maybe I was looking at superheroes. But now I see it's just a couple of pieces of gnarled driftwood.
What did Prawn do?
The worst thing you can imagine. He put all of Mermaid Man's white clothes in a washer with a red sock.
What is that yellow thing? Some kind of mold?
I'm not mold, I'm a sponge. There's a cellular difference.
And last but certainly not least is our final Easter egg, which can be found in the episode Potato Puff. And it happens fast. In the SpongeBob SquarePants movie from 2004, we were introduced to Princess Mindy, the daughter of the almighty King Neptune, who does her very best to help SpongeBob and Patrick throughout the movie. Now, despite being such a well-known character, we haven't really seen Mindy for quite some time, but she did recently make a reappearance appearance in the form of an Easter egg in the season 13 episode Potato Puff. Like I said, it happens fast, but look, Mindy can be seen as a painting on the wall of a nursery, thus making for an awesome little Easter egg. Let's head over to another movie, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. And as you guys can guess, and as you guys probably already know, this one's all about Sandy Cheeks. It's really cool because it serves as an introduction to her entire family. And Sandy has a big family. There's a bunch of Easter eggs, I'm showing them all on screen now that we're gonna get into, but here's a quick little plot summary so they all make sense. But basically, this giant claw literally steals Bikini Bottom, so SpongeBob and Sandy head to Texas to save everyone. On a side note, this evil robotic villain right here, named Sue, plans to clone the citizens and sell them as toys. She basically wants to take all of Bikini Bottom and just turn them into a toy line. SpongeBob gets cloned into tiny versions of himself, but with the help of Sandy's circus family, the clones, and 2 scientists, Sandy defeats Sue and launches Bikini Bottom back into the ocean. It's a good movie, I would watch it, and with that sorted, let's get into the Easter eggs. To kick things off, let's talk about our favorite dude, Fred. As you guys know, Fred is an iconic SpongeBob character who often always gets his leg hurt.
My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg!
You probably know him as the dude who always says, "my leg." And that's exactly what he does in the Sandy Cheeks movie, like 3 times, making for 3 Easter eggs. For one, he says it when his legs are damaged by the Krusty Krab sign.
My leg!
He also says it when he gets trampled by all of these people running for the free genetic modification paste.
Hey everybody, it's raining phase 1s! My leg again!
And his leg gets injured again during the circus performance. That one was pretty light, but this next Easter egg is even cooler. Who remembers the episode Wormy? Well, in that episode, we got this iconic and very funny stoplight gag, where the Bikini Bottomites are panicking, running around, but that doesn't stop them from stopping at a stoplight. This exact gag is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie during the opening when Bikini Bottom is first abducted. Here's another really cool one. If we rewind back to the episode Karate Island, SpongeBob travels off to this island and ends up getting captured by these like karate masters. Sandy warned him not to go, but he didn't listen and he went anyways. And because of this, Sandy has to step in and save the day. It's a really cool plot where it's very similar to like Kill Bill, and she even dresses like Kill Bill and has to go through like 4 floors fighting 4 different karate masters to save SpongeBob. Really good episode. As I said, she dresses like Kill Bill, as we can see right here. And in a similar scene in the Sandy Cheeks movie, she has to fight rattlesnakes, and look, she ends up dressing in the exact same outfit. Here's a side-by-side, and it's very clearly a reference. And I love it, but I love this next Easter egg even more. But for it to make sense, we have to rewind yet again and go back to the episode Band Geeks. And I mean, you gotta know this episode, right? If you're a real SpongeBob fan, you know the episode Band Geeks. If not, you're a phony. If you haven't though, don't worry. What really matters is that you've seen this scene right here.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
As you just heard, Patrick asks if mayonnaise is an instrument. No, it isn't, but that line is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie, with Patrick saying the following line.
Get to work, you lazy octopus!
Mayonnaise away!
This next one is really interesting. Who here has played the game Battle for Bikini Bottom? As a kid, I loved this game, and I think it's honestly one of the best SpongeBob games released. However, Titans of the Tide, the new one that just came out, is also really, really good. Maybe I'll do a video on like SpongeBob video game Easter eggs. Let me know in the comments if you guys would watch that. But yeah, you need to have played Battle for Bikini Bottom for this Easter egg to really make sense. But during Sandy's battle with Sue, if you look, it's very similar to when she fights her robot self in Bikini Bottom. You kind of have to see it for yourself to really make sense, and I can't play the entire scene with Sue, so here's a side-by-side and you guys just take my word for it, okay? This next one is more of a fun fact, but at the start of the Sandy Cheeks movie, we get to see a version of the SpongeBob opening where it's Sandy instead, and it turns out this isn't actually the first time that this has happened. If we go back to the episode Truth or Square, we can see what would happen if Mr. Krabs led the theme song.
Who lives in an anchor under the sea? Hey!
And we can also see what would happen if Patrick led the theme song.
Who lives like a barnacle under the sea?
Oh, and we can also see what would happen if Squidward led the theme song. Let's take a look at this as well.
Who lives in a monument under the sea?
And last but not least, there is a scene, alright, in the Sandy Cheeks movie where SpongeBob is getting cloned. And a lot of people think that this references this scene from Sleepy Time, where we see him multiply multiple times in Patrick's dream.
I can make 1,000,000 of me! Huh?
Nope. Alright, that's gonna do it for the Sandy Cheeks movie, guys, and let's head over to SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water. This was the second SpongeBob movie that released, and it actually doesn't have a lot of Easter eggs. It has like 4 or 5, so we'll bang out this one quickly to wrap up the video. To start, if we go back to the episode Frankendoodle, we were introduced to the character Doodlebob, and when SpongeBob and Patrick are first introduced to him, they end up getting trapped in this pit right here, and Doodlebob drops a very heavy object on Patrick's head, prompting him to say the following.
You okay, Patrick?
Finland!
Well, this exact thing is referenced in Sponge Out of Water, as Patrick says a very similar line.
Finland.
And last but not least, who remembers the episode Sailor Mouth? In this one, Patrick and SpongeBob come across swear words for the first time. Well, actually, SpongeBob does, and then he teaches them to Patrick.
Hello, Patrick. Lovely day we're having, isn't it?
This day is particularly lovely.
Well, at one point in Sponge Out of Water, there is a rap battle, alright? And if you listen closely, a swear word is censored with the same dolphin chirp sound effect from Sailor Mouth.
We're in no mood to hear from you.
Thank you so much, guys, seriously, for supporting the channel. We're growing like crazy. Like, one day we might be the #1 SpongeBob channel, and it's because of you guys. I'm Cartoon Corey, I'm your host, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more spicy content. Peace.